Hello and welcome to the IFSC Paraclimbing and Climbing World Championships. Tonight, it's the turn of the paraclimbers to face the spotlight, try some super hard routes, all in order to win one of our medals and hopefully be crowned world champion. My name is Matt Groom and I am privileged to be joined tonight by a man who I'm counting as a friend by now, Sebastian Depke from Team Germany. Sebastian, welcome back.
Hi Matt, I'm so happy to be here with you again.
It's going to be an exciting finals, lots of categories, lots to talk about. And if you're new to paraclimbing, well, hello and welcome. You're about to witness something pretty special here tonight in Moscow. Sebastian, straight up, on the screen right now, we've just seen women's B category. Lots of different categories that the athletes are put into during the classification phase.
Yeah, the idea of classification is that we have so many different kinds of disabilities. It should not be the case that at the end of the day, a visually impaired athlete is climbing against someone who has, for example, an amputation or limb deficiency. So the idea of classification is to bring athletes together who have a similar type of impairment and who can, so to say, reach, even with different deficiencies or disabilities, the same, let's say, type or style of climbing.
Well, let's talk about those categories. Starting off with B, on screen you can see men's B. All of the categories are split with a number, 1, 2 and 3, 1 being the most serious, 3 being the least serious. B is for visually impaired, RP, neurological or physiological impairment, AU, amputee upper limb or a limb deficiency, and AL, amputee lower limb or limb deficiency. Now, Sebastian, for someone who hasn't heard all those categories before, it can be a bit overwhelming, but we'll be talking people through it as we go, won't we?
Yes, we will. Step by step, we will introduce the sport classes and then we'll explain all the details. So now we're going to start with the B sport classes. Here you see the route. Here we have from Italy and from Romania, women and men now climbing at the same time. You see their side guide standing behind them and they will guide them through the route and talking to them via headphone.
These shots were from earlier on this evening. The athletes had a moment to observe the routes in the same way as we see in our World Cup competitions. They get to check the routes out with their sight guides. They get to look at it, and there's not all B athletes in this category. This is all the athletes we're seeing right now in tonight's finals.
Exactly. The sport classes will start one by one. Sometimes we're going to have 2 climbers at the same time. But we will follow the action and give you all the details.
Sebastian, I hate to bring it up. Qualifying was the other day. You're here for a reason with me. How was it out there on the stage?
Well, I successfully made it to the commentary box by not making it to the finals.
To be honest, for me, that's a success, Sebastian. It is amazing to have you here. But just talk about the qualifying routes, because all these athletes had to go through the qualification phase to get here. How tricky was it?
The last 2 days were, we had the qualifications in the other arena here in Moscow, and the routes were not that much overhanging. The style was pretty technical in comparison to the rest what we had during the season in Innsbruck and in Briançon so far. So we saw lots of, let's say, unexpected falls for me as well. And to be honest, I don't like this style of climbing. Volumes, balancy, slabs, that's not my style. I like more the powerful overhanging walls. And well, that's competition climbing. Sometimes you're good, sometimes not. And once you've done a few competitions, I think you can get more and more relaxed if things go wrong. So the first qualifier route for me was I ended up, I think, 5th, so made it up 3/4 the way up the wall. But the second I fell very low just after 3 meters, and well, those are just character enforcing experiences you do there.
Exactly. That's what I say every time I fall off a route. I just wanted to bring something we saw up on stage because, frankly, one of the best things about the last couple of days is that they've stripped the speed wall and we've got a lead wall on the speed wall. Look at that on the left. Love that.
Yeah, exactly, because the right wall is quite overhanging. I think the middle part is around about 30 degrees. And the route setters love it because the speed wall is 50 meters, 5 degrees overhanging. So there we can expect a bit of the style what we saw in qualifications. And, well, I know, Matt, if I see this route, I know pretty much that I wouldn't have gone so far on that route because it's definitely not my style. What you see here, the volumes, The traversing aspect here has to fit 100% together. So if you miss something there, you're done.
All right, well, the light show has started here in Moscow. I'm still loving that shot on screen, artfully decorated by someone there. You can see the carabiners. But can you imagine being an athlete in this moment? They're standing right now backstage, about to face the crowd. The music comes on, and their heartbeats will be going through the roof. The pressure ramps up a gear.
Amazing.
Me and Sebastian are currently dancing in the commentary box. Just wanted to give you that little insight.
It's all warm up. It's wow. And each World Championships they are, so to say, trying to do the next level.
They have stepped it up here, really setting the scene for you. Hope you're enjoying this back at home. Welcome to Moscow for the Paraclimbing World Championships. If you missed the beginning, my name is Matt Groom. I'm here with Sebastian Depke, and we will be talking you through all the action here tonight. Sebastian, have you ever seen a Eurovision before? You know, the singing competition.
Eurovision Song Contest?
Yeah.
Well, that's not my expertise.
I feel like we have to explain this like in the Eurovision Song Contest. It's all a bit conceptual, isn't it? We've got climbers on the lead wall. We've got some kind of a balance feature. That makes sense in the middle. Fastest on the speed wall.
And strongest on the boulder wall.
Strongest on the bouldering wall.
Today we combine them in another way.
Well, tonight that speed wall isn't about fastest, it's about balance and precision and skill because it has become our lead route.
For the RP1, for example, and there we're gonna have also wheelchair climbers, and for them, campusing, and it's all about speed for them.
So, light show done. It's time to get on with the action here in the stadium. The lights come back on.
IFSC Paraclimbing World Championship. And we start the presentation from the Group B1.
So it's time to present the athletes.
Sho Aita, Japan.
Sho Aita from Japan should be the first athlete onto the stage to join us.
Razvan Nedu.
Razvan Nedu up next from Romania. Gentlemen, I actually went impaired climbing with. I was blindfolded. He was helping me out, and he laughed a lot. That's my main memory.
How was the experience, Matt?
It was terrifying, to be honest. You know, climbing a World Cup standard route for me is difficult anyway. Doing it whilst blindfolded, very, very tricky.
You felt lost?
I did feel lost. I didn't know where I was, to be honest. It was tricky. There is Jesse Dufton on stage. A gentleman who's climbed, it's hard to keep track of him, but up to E3 trad, I think.
Yeah, he's done amazing things outdoor.
Being the old man of Hoy, what a legend he is.
And he leaded.
Nadia.
Did not lead. Placing camps,
Italy.
etc.
He did indeed, yeah, he led it. He calls it no-site climbing, something like that, instead of on-site climbing.
Funny guy, he has a really good sense of humor.
He really does. And we'll see all of our athletes.
So Nadia Bredis from Italy, Edith Scheinecker from Austria coming there.
Abigail Robinson, Great Britain.
Next one is Abigail Robinson from Great Britain.
It's great to see Great Britain. Of course, they've been missing for a lot of competitions because of COVID, so good to see them here in Moscow.
B2.
Definitely also same about Team Japan.
There's Guillermo coming out for Team Spain. Raul Simon Franco, also from Spain. His teammate will join him next. From Japan, Fumiya Hamano joins us on stage. We're just going to see the presentation of the first category categories of athlete.
Richard
So that is
Schwacker, Great
B2 for women, B1 for men, and B2 for men. If you missed my little introduction at the beginning, B stands for visually impaired. And there's numbers 1, 2, and 3. 1 is the most severe impairment. 3 is the least severe impairment.
So,
but Sebastian,
let's applause again.
I always feel a bit tricky when talking about severity of impairment, because even if you are a 3 category, your level of vision is still very, very low, isn't it?
Yeah, you won't get a driver license with that. And our B1 athletes, by the way, they will climb blindfolded, so that they're all on the equal level. B1 athletes, for example, they are not able to see something more than, let's say, about the perception of if it's day or night. So they cannot see if there's a hold, for example, on the wall or not. So they would climb blindfolded to make it fair for everyone, have the same conditions. And the others are grouped, B2 and B3 are grouped by the rest of vision which is left. And the definition is done with the visual field, so the range of what you see in degrees from the left to the right, and the visual acuity, so how sharp and how far can you see.
Now, long before I turned up in Moscow, I was, lazing it back in France. Everyone was hard at work, classifying, doing all that work. Just explain to me about the classification process that took place here in Moscow. What does that involve exactly?
The classification process is the assessment of the classification process is done here right in front of the competition, before the competition. The athletes will submit their medical data when they apply for their license. So those medical records are checked long before the competition. So when the athletes actually come here to the competition, the classifiers already know their background, and so it's then up to check, to recheck, or to confirm what has written on paper, and doing extended checks, and then taking a first decision on which athlete is going to be climbing in which sport class.
And can things change in a season? So can you start off with one ranking or classification, and then can that change throughout?
Sure. There is, our classifier team has not just a sport class, it's also a so-called sport class status. So now it's getting even more complex, Matt. I hope you can still
I'm keeping
follow.
up, just about keeping up, yeah.
So, which then gives an indication on how, let's say, secure is this decision of this sport class. So, for example, a visually impaired athlete will get a fixed review date, for example, like of 2025. That means in the year 2025, before the first competition, this athlete has to undergo the examination again to see if something changes. Because some of those, well, everyone is new, and so many athletes have a fixed review date, which will then, so to say, give an update of if there were some changes or not.
So it's quite a fluid process then, because it's always athletes are being reassessed. Things can change throughout the athlete's career, and sometimes even during a season or during a time period. Yeah,
it can happen. There is not just fixed review dates. Let's say 4 years ago, for the physical impairments, it's more likely that they mostly have a fixed review date already next year. So for them, it's also sometimes very nerve-wracking, because there's not just maybe another examination in the future. Well, the goal is always to get confirmed status. That means the classifier has seen you on the wall, they know the decision was good, and this person fits into the sport class. And also, for example, if conditions change over time, classification can also change. So, for example, if an athlete has an accident, for example, or if the health condition gets worse, he can ask for another examination, and then it will be re-evaluated if this person should get into another sport class.
Well, we're about underway here. We have Sho Aita. There he is on screen right now. Sho Aita, I'm looking at his stats right now. He's done 4 paraclimbing competitions, and he's walked away with the gold every single time. Highly decorated athlete. So we're expecting big things from that man there.
Interesting fact, he's climbing first, so that means he was not the best in qualification. And that's also what we saw. Due to the different style of route setting this time, there were quite some unexpected results, and also favorites missing in the finals here. So now you see the side guide showing him the start of the route. He's blindfolded, so he's 100% relying on the information that his side guide is giving to him.
Something I noticed when I tried this in Briançon was the amount of trust that you need to have. We just swap over to Oksana representing CFR. He's on stage right now. That is Oksana just waiting for confirmation for the judges before he gets underway. Let's go back to Show Aita. There he is. And Sebastian, 2 ropes. What's the purpose of that? Well, it's not 2 ropes, but the rope is, well, it is 2 ropes, isn't it? So what's the purpose?
So the wall is very overhanging, and they've climbed on top rope for safety reasons. And if they would just have one top rope coming from the top, you would fall on the ground if you fall in the very beginning. So he's already, let's say, 4 to 5 meters up the wall. And if he would fall there, he would swing out to the back and hit the stage for sure. That's why the route setters mount on a second anchor in the lower part. And then that's the reason why you have 2 ropes in more overhanging or also in traversing routes. There you can use the same belaying system to avoid pendulum swings, for example.
Now his side guy being very vocal down on the stage, and if you're wondering why it's so loud, the stadium in this moment drops completely into silence. Myself and Sebastian, we're up in the commentary box, way above this, protected by glass walls. They can't hear us, but the audience needs to be silent to give the side guy the opportunity to give clear instructions. Sometimes they use a radio, but Japanese teams seem to favour this method of just yelling up the wall.
Definitely, and I mean, it's like, I always say, like, keep it stupid and simple. So there's one technical aspect less in the game which can fail. So we have seen headphones falling off athletes because they ripped their blindfold by accident, or for example battery failures, and well, it's up to them to decide what they want to do. The good thing is that we get now more insights into their style of announcing.
True, and if we spoke Japanese, we'd know exactly what the man was saying. I don't currently. Is it going to be distracting for Oksana here? Because he's being very loud, isn't he, on the right?
Yeah, on the left you see here Oksana now climbing, and they're also using no headphone. That's definitely something we need to consider. I talked about this to athletes before, because I thought this must be incredibly distracting if you hear something else, but in this case, Russian versus Japanese, I think Oksana is not able to understand what the Japanese guy is saying.
That is true.
So it should work out for them. But yeah, we'll see how it turns out.
So both athletes far up. Show now through the middle section of this route. He now has to traverse all the way to the right on fairly good holds, but remember, it has to be so precise when you do this, and any mistake is just amplified because you have to hold on for that much longer. The thing I noticed when I did this, Sebastian, is just the jug you think is a jug isn't a jug because you're in it in the wrong place.
Or you miss the good foothold just by 1 centimeter and you think like, oh, this is nothing.
Exactly.
And actually, that's not a problem at all.
Well, these guys are far stronger than I am. Show now almost into the head wall section, pausing a little bit, stretching out with the left hand in order to try to get that next black volume, and then backs off for a shake out. Just out of his reach there a little bit.
So the side guides announces in a way that he's giving the orientation where the clock system. So for example, he would now say like 1 o'clock, good jog. Then he would say, for example, okay, crossover. Let's see if he does it. The feet for experienced athletes, he doesn't have to say too much about them because they can remember about the placements of the hand. Yeah, he does the crossover.
This route about 7A plus in terms of sport grades, and we see Oksana coming down there, representing CFR. He is off the wall. I'm sure we'll see a replay of that in a second.
There you also see the 2 ropes, here not to avoid swings to the back, but to the side.
Let's watch a replay of this moment. He's about a third of the way up the route, and just a foot pop there.
Well, foot slip.
So a slip, but Show Aita is nearing the top of this route. This was described by a classifier I spoke to as a heinous route, and he has made such good work of it, and it's a top for him. What a performance. I mean, he's a 4-time gold medalist. I I kind of expected that, but what a start to our competition.
We see all the top. So I think rule testers might get a bit nervous now. Because what they want is a clear separation. So what they don't want is to have everyone topping route.
Right, well, route setters get nervous. But we have seen in recent competition...
Celebration down there.
I'm not sure who's more psyched. Sight guide or athlete.
And the sight guide also has to be able to climb this grade, because he has to be able to read the route, to think about it. They get video demonstrations, by the way, also in the warm-up zone for them, so they get an idea of what the route is about. But at the end of the day, they can always decide to do a different bidder.
Look at that top from Show. He knew he had got it, latched it, turned and waved to our crowd. We've got a nice selection of people into the audience. Crowds being allowed in limited numbers. So, next up, Razvan Nedu from Romania on the speed wall. Oh, sorry, no, on the overhang.
So, Razvan is also, I would say, kind of a legend. He's not just doing competition climbing, he's also doing alpine climbing. So, recently he climbed Mount Elbrus. I think it's a peak more than 5,000 meters high. So, they do pretty interesting stuff there with the team in Romania.
That is Nadia Redis from Italy. She gets us underway. You can see Razvan Nedu there reaching up, matching.
So those who can understand Romanian now get an insight on how the announcing of holds and footholds is working here. As the B1 athletes have no vision left, they're 100% relying on their sight guide. And yeah, you see Razvan.
Heavily strapped up left hand.
Yes.
What happened?
To be honest, I don't know.
We'll have to find that out. We'll let you know as we see. But you can see might be having a little injury there.
But doesn't stop him from climbing. It's quite steep there already, so he must be very dedicated to say, I go for it.
It's always difficult to know quite how steep these walls are when you look at it from this camera angle. But do check out, well, I said check out the quick draws. There aren't actually any quick draws on the wall. But trust me, when you're standing at the bottom of that wall and you look up, you cannot see the top. Very, very overhanging. And that speed wall we watch now, as Sebastian said earlier, 5% overhanging. And I'm loving the fact it hasn't got a speed route. I've never seen a speed wall without a speed route. This is brilliant.
Now we get some insights into Italian announcing of Nadia here.
Yeah, Nadia getting past the point Oksana fell on before. Calm from the sight guide, just talking her through these moves. There's a little bit of a traverse out right, and if you switch from these orange volumes to crimps, you have to be very precise when going out right.
Definitely. By the way, Matt, did you yell at your comment at your sight guide when you tried it?
No, I was too busy being pumped. I was so. I've never been that pumped in my life.
Maybe we will see it at the end when things get more pumpy and less controlled. Maybe we see some kind of emotions they're picking up, because it's quite interesting. I also did some visually impaired athletes guiding in our team, and it's, trust me, if you've called one route, you're mentally pretty exhausted, because it's pretty stressful to do it in the right way, and yeah, you're feeling with the athlete, you feel the pump, you feel the struggle, and well, the athlete can always say, no, it wasn't me, it was the sight guide who messed it up, right?
That's true, but that relationship is important, isn't it, between them, because you have to trust your sight guide.
Definitely, and he also the sight guide has to adapt to the style of climbing. He has to estimate of what his athlete is capable of doing. Can he do this move this way? Will he need another beta in this place? So in the best case, they always climb together and a good team working together. And yeah, the athletes you see here are well trained, and also the sight guides are, well, good informed. Let's see what Razvan maybe can take out of this route.
Yeah, he's halfway through now on this big volume section before he starts to traverse to the right on the black volumes.
So pinching with the left might get a bit tricky. Seeing those holes, it's not needed there.
So working hard now, our microphones on the wall, picking up the athletes, breathing as they come through, and that will be a feature of this World Championships. And now he's started to scream though. He's won bronze before, he's won silver before. How much would that man love to make it a gold here tonight in Moscow? His last medal came in Innsbruck this year. With that silver, oh, so nearly dropped that match and finally comes down to the ground. So I think our route setter worry perhaps alleviated. So Nedu comes down, he'll be happy with that.
It was a hard fight.
And we lose Nadia as well. So 2 athletes done on both routes. And me and Sebastian do not have control of the camera angles, so we'll be calling the action as we see it with you guys. Thank goodness we haven't, Sebastian. We definitely messed that up.
Well, and I mean, we try multitasking, but I would say we are already at the limit.
We've done enough of that today already. We're surrounded by sheets of paper currently. The organisation here in the commentary booth needs stepping up. So this was the moment she got through the bottom, let's call it the bottom crux, and then high up on the wall, little tiny side pulls.
Yeah, the pinching, and what do we see there?
And this is on the final third, maybe 6 moves to go. Maybe getting pumped out a little bit.
Well, and no feed anymore for her there. Well, you saw those volumes up there are not that good. So Razvan Nedu here, those holds a bit better, but, well, the angle gives you quite a good pump.
Exactly. And remember, these athletes can't just speed through a section. They literally don't know what's coming next, and therefore you have to save something in the tank all the time. And a jug that you think is a jug, especially from the ground as the sight guide, when you get up there, can be different. It's adaptive climbing.
Especially if you don't hit it right. So here we have Edith from Austria being introduced to the route.
Edith Scheinnecker, what a performance she had in Briançon.
Oh, yes.
Interviewing her after her medal, and I mean, I don't think she could quite believe that she was standing there, in fact. She was over the moon.
Definitely, definitely. The beginning of the routes are quite easy. It's intended this way so that the athletes get a good start and the difficulty progresses over the route. So in comparison to a commercial gym route, competition routes are way less, I would say, the same from bottom to top. Also, traverses like this is something you will not find in a commercial gym route, because this would actually block at least 3 lines, so to say. So for them it's also sometimes difficult to get experience with climbing like this. Also, for example, big volumes like this is also something, for example, which are not easy to find in commercial gym routes, because they block big parts of the wall. And well, in gyms normally people want to have many routes in the same line.
So Artem is looking for a heel or a high foot, finds it now, and he's got a rock up, goes up with the right hand. He's continuing the craze I've seen more and more of, which is socks and climbing shoes.
I also like climbing with socks.
Oh, come on, Sebastian.
Yeah.
Really?
Why not?
I don't know. I'm judging you a little bit.
Why is it wrong? Tell me.
I don't know, because it's what I'm used to. I get too sweaty otherwise.
Well, no, it depends on the size. If I've got very tight shoes where it's absolutely impossible, I go without. But if the shoes are a bit older and get wider, then I prefer wearing socks, because then you get again the tight feeling in them.
Each to his own. It's all right to be wrong. Artem now. He's through the first third of this route nicely. And the route setters, it has to be said, stunning routes they've created here. So much work going into it. And we're testing these routes right up to the very last second. And now starting to struggle though, going up with the right. Might need to bring the left up really here.
Also interesting, our classifiers also tried the routes, the qualifications and also final routes. And it's so good to see that route setters and classifiers are working more and more together, because the route setters know our athletes quite well. They've seen them over years, they know the style they climb, the way they climb.
Just lost Artem there. You can see him adjusting. I think it was as much as a body position as that hold, because it was a side pull. He just needed to get that weight over to the right. So an early fall for him. That will leave him in third place at the moment. One athlete to go in men's B1. Let's see a replay of this. This was the first couple of moves. Perhaps never quite settled, and this bump, you can see him sliding down, adjusting. Perhaps needed to flip his body weight over to the right. But Edith Scheinecker is still on the wall, halfway through for her. And this is the volume section, Sebastian, that we know is the crux of the route.
Yeah, almost 3 minutes to go. In total she has 6 minutes, so I would say she's safe in time-wise. Timeout is something which occurs very often in visually impaired climbing, because their climbing style is a bit slower. But well, being quick and efficient is also something you need to master.
So next athlete will be Jessie Dufton out onto the stage. So Jessie Dufton, we chatted about him earlier. He's a gentleman who I've personally known for quite a few years now, and something that perhaps sets him apart from some of the other visually impaired athletes we're seeing is that man does blind trad. If you know about trad climbing, it's all about placing gear, trying to keep yourself safe. We'll talk more about Jessie in a minute. Here is Edith. She's through the first green volume.
But quite confident on those. Coming closer to the top. There you see the last part of this route. Let's see what she can do here. Chalking up.
That black volume is quite good to stand on, almost flat. Suddenly she needs to come into crimps here. Gets the first. Now we'll need to bring that right hand through.
So for those who understand German, can now follow the side guide, the Austrian coach announcing. Jonas, right hand 12 o'clock.
And this is a long reach up, isn't it? Shakes out.
Go on, you have to commit for it, he says.
So Edith has to commit.
Always say
to
12
this.
o'clock. So she's hesitating. A bit of a knee bar there, maybe. So now he's trying to calm her down a bit.
A minute left on the clock. She has got time. And there is confirmation of that minute. Bumping the left up. Nothing to stand on though. And then gets that crimpy hold. Locks it off.
Very good.
Finally, the cross through loses that moment. What a performance from Edith. Job done for her.
Yeah, and 30 seconds left, so to say. Good timing, I would say. Good pace. Let's see how it turns out at the end.
So Edith will return to the ground. Jessie Dufton is in action on the right-hand side.
For the women, we have one more athlete to go.
So Edith, let's see where she fell. What a performance from her. Easily through the big orange volumes down low. That volcano style holds. Everything got harder from then on in. It becomes a crimpy section. And there it is with the first one. That was the move just before she fell, and then with the reach up with the left, starting to get pumped, just missed it too far to the left.
And the coach said it's again 12 o'clock, but if you get pumped, you get less and less precise, so it happens.
There is Jessie Dufton in action. So as I was saying, he climbs no sight as he calls it, but on sight as we know it, trad climbs. Therefore, he starts at the bottom, puts in all the gear en route. Like, I am bad enough at placing gear when I can see. How on earth do you place a cam when you can't see the thing? The bravery of that man is ridiculous.
Especially how do you check if it's not overcammed, if it's in the right place? What about the rock which is left and right to the crack I'm putting it in? Is it stable enough to hold the load if I'm falling off there? It's a decision, I would say. It's how are we actually making it? I don't know. So here we see Abigail Robinson from Great Britain her first competition this year as Team GB did not make it to any competition so far. Good to have them back in place because they have got very, very, very good athletes in their team.
Look at the confidence through that first section. Absolute trust in the moves and her sight guide. And she's wearing the radio. You can see it coming down to her waist there, up to her ear. So no shouting this time. The British sight guide will just be speaking into his microphone, his radio.
Let's see if they are can pick up the sound from her. So you see totally different speed here, Matt, right?
Yeah, fast, flowy climbing. That applause is for Jesse, who's come down. We'll flip back to him in a sec. There he is. A bit disappointed. Felt fairly low on that route. So not what Jesse would have seen. Let's watch a replay in a second of that moment from him.
Let's see what happened. That's a start from Jesse in the route. Meanwhile, Abigail cruising safely through the mid part of the route.
And there was Jesse's fault. He went up for hold number one, then adjusted slightly to the next one, didn't quite get it. And that was enough to spit him off down to the ground.
Well, I think he has also in mind that this is not all he does in climbing.
It's true, he's got lead E4 next. So Abigail.
Incredible.
Abigail is just taking the moment to rest on that big black volume before this tricky, slopey section. And this route changes in characteristics. You go from the crimps she's just had into this slopey section, so your forearms uncurling.
So, on the overhanging route, we now have the men B2 starting. This is Guillermo Pellegrin from Spain. The B2 category has vision left, so that means they're not climbing blindfolded like Abigail here, so there's vision left. They are not 100% relying on the information given by their sight guide. So Abigail's still looking quite relaxed, I would say.
Yeah, Abigail cruising through. She's a couple of holds away from the top here. 3 minutes 28, plenty of time. Are we going to see a top from Abigail now? Up with the right foot. And she will be taking her time at the moment. She climbed that bottom section so fluidly, so quickly.
Yeah, B2 has vision left. And then you see the top. That's it.
So Abigail comes down. And that group she was in was mixed. We saw 2 B1 athletes at the beginning and then B2 in the final 2. Why are these categories put together like that?
Yeah, the idea behind is the concept of merging. Merging means you combine different sport classes into one because the minimum criteria are not fulfilled. For World Championships, you need 6 athletes from 4 different countries into a sport class to open it. So, for example, if B1 only has 3 and a B2, let's say, has 4, then B1 will be merged into B2. There's a complex scheme which explains the way the merging is done, and so then you end up with a sport class which is mixed, but also a mixed sport class is better than having no competition at all. So in this case, yeah.
Not a perfect system, but the best one we can get to give everyone a chance to climb.
Exactly, exactly. The concept of merging is also existing in other para sports, and I always say it's better to have an unfair competition instead of no competition. And as we're starting still in some categories with very few athletes, you need a system to grow the sport. You cannot start with 1 athlete if they never get a chance to compete. How do you show that they're actually there, that it's working?
So Guillermo now on the wall. He has less than 3% of his sight less. The rest is peripheral.
So the peripheral view means he's not seeing in the center of his eye. He's seeing more in the corners, so to say. And for climbing, this is quite good because so
Guillermo comes down. As we were talking about that. He is B2 category, and everyone in this group of men's B2 is B2. So a very level playing field in this part of the competition.
Definitely, definitely. So this peripheral view that he has left means that, for example, he sees something in the upper part of his eye and also in the lower part. And for climbing, this is normally it's better than having a central view. So that means like central view means you are, for example, just as if you were looking through a long pipe. Because if you can see your hands and your feet, for example, for the same time, you're in a way better position in comparison, for example, if you have with this pipe view, you have to scan the whole wall and, so to say, find the high stack, where you then need the needle, so to say, the sweet spot of the hold you're aiming for.
So we'll have a little brief pause here. That speed wall will come out of action for the time being as we stick with the overhang as we get through the men's B2 category. If you're just joining us, welcome to Paraclimbing, the Paraclimbing World Championships. And Sebastian, let's look at the results here, though, from women's B2. We watched her just now, Abigail Robinson, right up top with the top. Fantastic gold medal for her. Edith Scheinecker in second place, 40 plus. Nadia Bredice in bronze. Sebastian, I was chatting to some athletes earlier about what it means to be a world champion and why this event is a bit different. Because, look, we've seen multiple World Cups this year. We've seen an Olympics this year. But
Definitely.
The ring of world champion, that's something special, isn't it?
Definitely. The World Championships is only every 2 years, while we have multiple World Cups every year. So, well, the title of the World Champion lasts for 2 years. And that's quite something. And also the World Championships are always way bigger events in comparison to a World Cup. You see here athletes from all around the world, and it's nice to see the family back together.
Well, that's confirmation of B1. Sho Aita, we saw him climb first. He's added another gold medal to his tally, 5 now for him. But meanwhile, on the wall, that is Raul Simon Franco. And what season he's having. Gold in Innsbruck, 4th in Briançon.
Raul also has the peripheral view, so he has no vision in his center, but sees around. You see that those athletes are way quicker than the ones who have no vision left. More precise. You see they look in the direction they are then aiming for with their hands or feet, for example. Bit of sorting out here.
You can see him glancing upwards, very limited vision from him. He's getting instructions from his sight guide in his ear. You can see the radio sticking out that headband. The Spanish team, so good to see them out in force here in Moscow as well. Very recognisable, that red and yellow uniform they have. You can see them from miles away. Absolutely love it.
Colours, the power of colours.
Exactly. So he cruises through the black and yellow section.
Good pace. 4.5 minutes left on the clock. But I think time won't be an issue here. It's more the pump which is the problem, in my opinion. So this hook saves him some energy, gives him a moment to pause. It's a good hold there.
That high heel hook in order to rest. Oh, it just bumps the heel. What trust that is. A dynamic heel hook bump up with the right.
Well, he knew where the hole was, and it's quite long, so it's good that route setters offer these possibilities. So also forced dynamic moves this season, where I thought this is never possible. And also in the qualifications they did a part of that, and everyone tried it statically. It didn't work. Only those who tried dynamic could stick the move.
Lesson for us all there. If in doubt, jump.
Jump, but not just jump somewhere. Well, they jump somewhere. They don't see it.
So that's my problem. I just jump. Never works out for me. So Raul, halfway through now, nearing the head wall of this route where it starts to get vertical again. So it changes from overhanging to a more vertical section. Oh, and you can hear the side guide. No, from him. Halting him before he made the mistake. But perhaps that cost him dear.
Sometimes it's good to trust your side guide and not following your own idea there. Now that's the question. How strong are you in this moment to say, I don't care, just do whatever I want? Or you strictly follow the instructions?
It's tricky, isn't it? And that relationship's so important. The trust that needs to be there. As it is between the two of them, you can see them smiling as they came down. So they got that underclink nicely underneath the yellow volume, got the screw on. This was nearing the head wall. There's the vertical section of that wall. I tell you what, this makes This
Yeah.
makes Sho Aito's top so impressive. I'm the only athlete to get up there.
Definitely, and he was climbing. I mean, he was a B1, so climbing blindfolded. Also, the B1s sometimes are congenital, so that means they carry their impairment from birth. And those athletes mostly develop a so-called seventh sense, which give them a possibility to, have a perception that we cannot understand. There are athletes who say, I can hear the road, but not hear just the cars on the road, but I can hear the direction they're going. And that's something hard to understand, but they have, so to say, that this seventh sense helps them. It's also the question of how quick are you able to process the visual information that you get. So your visual processing capabilities also decide on your climbing style. For example, he has vision left, but the question is, if he's looking this direction, is he directly able to identify, okay, this is a volume, this is a hold, this is where I'm aiming to, or does he need some time to process this in his brain to realize what's there? And that can also result in different styles of climbing, but this time, so to say, this delay cannot be measured. So that's some kind of unfairness in there, which cannot be, so to say, eliminated. Same about contrast. It's also something that our visually impaired classifiers cannot measure in a good way because it's very easy to cheat. So we just say to the route setters, choose some good colors, good contrast. So no gray holes on gray walls, please. But they did good. No question about that.
Yeah, it is a great route. He struggled a little bit through the bottom section. He's very experienced. His last medal came in Innsbruck this year. Sorry, 2018. So he hasn't competed for a while. So it's nice to see him back on the big stage for the World Champs. What can he do with this route? 4.5 minutes, just under, on the clock. And he's gone past that point.
So he also has a peripheral view, and he told me that, for example, he's not seeing things to the side. He only sees a bit up and a few corners in the lower part where he's able to get visual information from. So it's so interesting to see what they're doing from that. So that's something you can also try at home. Just go in the gym, climb a route, and then you try it again, but with closed eyes. And you would see it's a totally different route.
It is a different world, isn't it? And the amount of pump you have to control as he's doing here. But look at that climbing style, straight arms, relying on those big back muscles, not the biceps, in order to hold him on. Now he comes up into that match, struggling to find the feet. And there's no real opportunity to rest. He's coming to perhaps the biggest hold on the route in a minute. He's shaking out at every opportunity here.
With more than 3 minutes left and not halfway up the wall, so if he wants to make the top, he definitely needs to pick up pace. And let's think back. His teammate climbed the route to the top completely blind. No own visual perception, so to say, left. For me, it's incredible, totally incredible what these athletes are doing there.
So hanging suspended above the stadium. He takes a moment to chalk up again, talking to his sight guide there.
The difficulty is up to, according to the route setters, about 7A+. So imagine climbing a 7A plus blindfolded.
I can't. I don't know what would happen. It'd be a very quick competition.
Well, you did in Briançon, right?
Apparently so. I think it was more like 6C+, and I didn't get to the top of it as well.
But normally you could be able to climb 6C+, right?
I'd hope so, yeah.
You hope so?
I'd hope so. Usually, yes.
I've heard you can.
Yes, usually yes. But yeah, the difference it made was incredible. And just as I said, the right-hand pump that I developed was incredible.
And imagine you were able to observe the route fully in advance. Also, you did the commentary.
Exactly. I talked through every move of that route.
So you have seen the route multiple times.
Exactly. I was at a very had a big advantage on this.
But did you recognize where you actually were because you have seen it multiple times?
No. No. It was an experience. So he's halfway up, a minute and a half left, and Sebastian, as you said, time becoming a factor here. It looks like he's got endurance for days as he hangs on that wall, but a minute and a half is not enough time, I don't think, to get this done.
No. The visually impaired athletes, they're also training the way that they train to stay long, to rest also on steep walls, on tiny holes, to so to say, being able not to stress out if it's not working the first try. Because he's hanging there and he's searching for the next one, maybe coming back and reorientating. It's like just climbing half of your speed you normally do, and then not being able to see what you're actually grabbing and standing on there.
Amazing stuff, and the depth of the Japanese squad in all aspects of our sport is so impressive.
It's so nice to see Team Japan back here on stage. Due to COVID, they had struggle in terms of traveling to other competitions, so yeah, nice to have you back with the family.
Look at the Romanian route setter there, going through the moves. I don't know if that was conscious what he was doing there, just really deeply involved in this competition, as is everyone in the stadium. There's a focus, everyone watching right now.
So 10 seconds left. It could be the first timer today.
3, 2, 1. Are we going to see the visually impaired thing they do where they don't come down from the wall? Because sometimes they just want to continue.
Yes, I think he will. So the judges will now call him down? Okay.
Okay.
He accepts it.
Fair enough. Done.
We've seen athletes in the past who just ignored it and then topped the route. I mean, the judges won't like it. And the officials who are taking care of timing and schedule also.
No, they hate it, but...
they hate it, but...
I quite like it.
I do as well.
Don't tell the officials. Well, we have one athlete left on this visually impaired category.
You could pretend I had the headphone in my ears. I couldn't hear you. I'm sorry.
Exactly. Exactly. We'll shut the door. They won't come barging in. Look at that moment there from the Romanian coach. So much support for a rival. So our final athlete out will be Richard Slokok.
Well, you said rivals, but actually most of them are really good friends. Because from my experience, when I came here to the athlete family, so to say, I was not the exception. I mean, our coach was the exception, the only one who's not disabled in some way, but we accept him.
So, Richard has macular dystrophy, so he has no central vision. First noticed problem in 2013. 2016, he was registered as blind. Keen climber of Font as well. Fontainebleau, an area just south of Paris. And that one fact alone means that this man has taste. Because it is a great bouldering area. So he's led up to 7A before, Sebastian. We know this route's 7A plus, so this will be at its absolute limit here tonight.
Can you imagine clipping quick draws and not being able to see exactly where they are? Like imagine you're trying to hit the bolt with the quick draw and missing it again and again and again.
I don't want to imagine that stuff are nightmares. So Richard making good progress here through the bottom section. Fingers a little taped up. Qualified the other day. And what is that off his harness? Is that some kind of teddy bear?
Maybe he wants us to find out and talk about it, huh?
I want to know.
So Richard, if that was your intention...
It worked, didn't it?
It worked.
So he comes into the side pulls now. Flowy through that part.
And you see the rope going behind his arms. That's actually not such a good idea, because if you fall, you might end up in a bad situation, and it also can happen that the rope is going around your back, depending on how you turn. But now as he's going to the left, he's safe.
Bronze in Briançon 2019. He'd love to add another one to that collection. Sebastian said earlier that ring of being a world champion is something truly special. We had the speed the other night, so do go and catch up on that if you missed it. Tomorrow, well, it's all about women's bouldering. Right now, paraclimbing is in action, and it is has quickly become this year my favourite competition to commentate on.
Oh, I love to hear that.
It's true, and not through any sort of, inspirational thing. I just think it's totally badass, to be honest.
I didn't pay Matt for saying
No,
that.
it's true. I just think these guys, these men and women who are competing here tonight are just incredible athletes. And for me, that's what sport's about. It's about watching people perform at their limits and at a level. And this is, to me, what paraclimbing is all about.
Definitely. I think it's so inspiring that, in my opinion, all of those athletes here are winners. They're winners because they're here. If you hear the stories, what they've gone through, war, terrorism, diseases, accidents, some of them could have been dead already. So, they made their way and they're here on stage. So everyone who's just entering this competition already has won his own battle.
Richard.
And now they're doing one on top.
And he is absolutely fighting that power scream there as he made that move up, battling here on the final section. Oh, cutting loose and going down. 3 minutes left on the clock. Team GB, great performance from them. And that is the end of our visually impaired category. We'll get an update on the scores in a second.
He didn't look that satisfied with his performance, but, well.
So let's see those moments. That lion tattoo on his arm, flexing as his biceps strain against that overhang. Big moves throughout from him, outright to the slopers.
There you see, there is precision in his moves. He sees where he's actually aiming for. In comparison to the B1s, they're always like hitting and trying and searching, stretching over the wall. So shoes is also something that those athletes need way more than others.
So let's see a confirmation of the B2 for the men. Fumia Hamanuk in first place, 40 plus. Richard Slocott, we just watched him, 38 plus, and Raul Simon Franco, 38 plus. Guillermo in fourth place with 17. So a tricky route, only one top we saw for that. We'll move on from the visually impaired category now. Sebastian, what's up next?
So we continue with the RP classes. We continue with RP1 women and RP2 women at the same time climbing.
So RP is for neurological or physiological impairment. Go on, break that down for us. Neurological or physiological impairment, because that can mean a large category of different impairments and disabilities.
Yes, definitely. For example, I'm also in that category. So I'm, for example, one who falls into the impaired passive range of movement category inside this sport, inside this main category, so to say. But it can also be like something like an ataxia, athetosis. It can be a neurological impairment due to an accident, for example. It can also be short stature, for example. We don't have them here now. So here we see the list of the men RP2. Team India also made it to the first competition here. Manikandan Kumar also here with us.
So our athletes are being announced onto the stage. There are a lot of athletes who will be joining us.
And there you see already a difference. Some of the athletes are sitting in a wheelchair, some of them are not. But here you also see the next category is climbing. That's the AU2. You see there, it's the upper arm amputation or limb deficiency. So they are all presented now on stage, and then we're going to start with the RPs only. There we see Eva Mol from Netherlands.
She has your helmet currently, doesn't she?
Yes, so a part of me will be climbing in the finals tonight.
Sebastian entered the stadium tonight saying, the first thing he said to me was, I have to go give Eva my helmet. And then he was explaining that due to the nature of these walls, for her condition, it's better to wear a helmet. And we'll see some of the athletes wearing helmets, personal choice from them.
Yeah, Eva didn't bring one, so as I don't need it today, I just gave it to her.
Manikandan Kumar, India.
So the RP category sport classes are pretty, let's say, wide mixture. Mixture can be very different, and for classifiers, it's also the most tricky ones to make the right decision on who belongs into which sport class here. We have, again, 1, 2, and 3, so RP1, RP2, RP3, while RP1 being the most severe and RP3 being the less severe impairment. So they are, well, even if they have very different kinds of disabilities, it's also interesting that they can compete on a comparable level. There we see here someone from the US sitting in a wheelchair. He's in the AL1 category. That's they will campus the whole route. Angelino Zella from Austria there.
Yeah,
Had a great season so far.
the campusing is just spectacular to watch. So Sebastian, by this stage in the competition, anyone with any kind of a brain would have realised that this is a brilliant sport, and that if you have any kind of an impairment, they might be watching thinking, I want to do this, I want to go potentially compete for my country, certainly start climbing. Is there a way that people with impairments, with disabilities can begin the sport? And how do you get to this level of representing your country?
Yeah, it's a very good question, Matt, because actually I was a paraclimber, but I didn't know that this format was existing. I met Yannick Ruder on Mallorca when he was climbing as Pontas, and I like to know him, and we talked a bit. He saw what I'm doing, and he said, like, hey, Seb, you have got to find a German team. There's a paraclimbing World Cup series. You belong to this sport. And I was like, oh, what? Plastic competition climbing? Okay, I will Google it. And I found them, and I got an invitation to a training camp of the German team, and when I was there, I realized, yes, I belong to this family. And now I'm a proud member of Team Germany, and also being the athlete representative, so elected by them to speak for the athlete in front of the IFSC. So this question is also a good question we are working on, because I think there are many para-athletes out there, they are waiting to be found. They just don't know that this exists. I'm not the only one who was, so to say, talent scouted by someone else. So what we need is we need exposure. We need streams like this, where just show the world this is existing and it's possible. And aside of that, there are also these inclusive climbing groups being put in place by local alpine clubs, for example, where they give people with disabilities the opportunity to climb. And I think that's a great possibility, because climbing is also not just, say, a sport. It can also have a theoretical aspect. So climbing is also used in rehab centers for specific training methods. And that's also, for example, where we have athletes from. We have athletes who have accidents and who came on a climbing wall in their rehabilitation center or clinic. And that's how they got into the climbing sport. They realized, okay, this is not just about building up some coordination, strength, whatever. I want to do more. And yeah, we see the numbers of participants growing over the years, and if we continue like this, we're spreading the word, telling the world that it's there, and because it's fun.
I agree, and truly the best of the best are here in Moscow joining us. So if you're watching this and you have interest in trying our sport out, make sure you do go and try it, because it's inclusive and it's for everyone. And you know, something we hear often about climbing is, is against yourself rather than against, many team sports is against the opposition. This sport is you versus yourself in many, many ways. And I think for paraclimbing that's particularly poignant and important to remember, because these athletes are overcoming something within themselves in order, as you said, just to be here. And to make any progress on these routes, you need to dig so deep into your personal self.
Definitely. I mean, every climber knows it's you're facing your own limitations, your fears. It's about having a goal, facing this goal, following it, dedication to the process. You're everything around is just away. You're just in this moment, in this space. And all of these capabilities is something which will help you a lot if life comes up to you and asking serious questions. So, for example, I love the inclusive climbing group with kids, because they do climbing, but actually it's about much more in this sense, because what they learn there is so important for them and also for everyone. So now we have Jasmin Plank from Austria on stage. She's sitting in a wheelchair. Yasmin has an unknown neurological disease. She's not able to walk, so she needs a wheelchair to move.
One thing that, and I appreciate this might sound naive, but the first time I watched paraclimbing, I saw an athlete climbing out of their wheelchair. I kind of hadn't considered the fact they'd have to come out of the wheelchair. I almost thought they'd be climbing with it, just because that was my reaction from watching it. And I know that sounds silly, but honestly, I think that moment where they came out of the wheelchair, I was like, oh my goodness, this is incredible, incredible, incredible scenes. And it is, because I mean, the upper body strength is required for some of this is next level, isn't it?
It is, and if you're sitting in a wheelchair, it's a good training for that as well.
True, that is true. Strong shoulder muscles from her, and you can see now pulling upwards. That is Jasmine Plank from Austria. She competed this year and got the silver medal in Briançon.
So Yasmin has had an accident a while ago in the mountains. There was some rock fall, and before that she was not sitting in a wheelchair. So Yasmin has a history in paraclimbing in better condition as well. And well, that can happen. She did not, so to say, stop it. For her it was just another reason to continue and to train to the next level.
Yeah, and she struggled there in that initial section. You can see bumping up with the right hand, dropping back down. Such a physical start to this route, so overhanging.
Grabbing the wheelchair weight on the pendulum.
Style points, it counts. Let's see that moment again. She bumped up with the right here, you can see, into the first.
She was not sure how to do it because she slapped before, up and back down again. Oh, well, then the pump kicks in, and if you're not feeling confident in the route, in my opinion, it's so important that in the first few moves you have to get the feeling of I'm okay. If you don't get to it, most likely never get to this point. It's very hard to arrive there later on.
That is Daria Mozov. Daria Mozov, is that from representing CFR? She goes with the left foot pushing against that volume. Now this quite complicated first section of this route. It's not easy to read. You can see struggling a little bit, trying to get the left drop knee in, now crossing under and up. In an awkward position, you're going to have to bump that right foot or cross through with the left. Very stretched out on the wall. Tries to match, will need to bring that left foot down. Now she does.
Come on. So meanwhile, we have the next starter, a steep wall from Team Norway, Lina Eivik. Lina Eivik has cerebral palsy. It's a congenital neurological impairment. It affects more her left side than her right, and she has less coordination and strength on her left. So maybe you might wonder why I am talking about all these medical details of the athletes here. Am I actually allowed to say that? And I can confirm, yes, I am. The athletes are okay with that, and they actually say, like, please tell my stories. Please tell my story, explain our spectators in front of the screen why I am the way I am. And most of them are pretty confident with that.
Yeah, you're right. The explaining the stories thing is important, because I think they want to know, people at home watching this, what they've gone through to get to this stage. And Dina, she last climbed in Briançon, 5th for her. She'll be looking to upgrade that score. And we lose in the background. There is Daria. Down to the ground for her. We'll see a replay of that in a second. In fact, we might see it right now. So she's on the bottom third of this route. This is where she struggled a little bit to bring that left foot down and back across. Actually worked it out.
Yeah, it's those balancing moves might... If you have limited coordination, for example, capabilities there, that's, so to say, the nightmare. You cross over, you have to place your feet, and if you miss it somehow, for example, if one side is not that confident as the other, it's gonna get very tricky. most athletes then compensate just with pure strength. But that also is something very difficult to measure. For example, if someone has, let's say, 30% less of strength on one side, how can you exactly quantify that, or how can you, put that in comparison to someone else? But it's good to see that our route setters build routes for the athletes, which make them fair, so to say, so that left-right differences can be equalized. So they guarantee that no matter if an impairment is more affecting the left or the right side, that it's the same.
So Marta Pesch from Spain. This is going in the women's RP1 category.
Meanwhile, in the overhanging route, Lucia Capovilla from Italy starting. So Lucia is one of our first AU athletes on stage here. Lucia impairment is congenital, so that means she was born like this. But that's no reason not to go climbing. 8 index of, let's say, minus 20.
Flip back to her moment. We are watching Marta at the moment, Marta Pesch. Marta making good work of this traversy section. Tricky moves coming up though. Yeah, it's proving difficult, this section, for these athletes here. This left foot, big stretches required. It's a long way out to the right there.
So Marta is classified in the RP1 category, so she has lots of coordination problems, and you see it on her left, for example. The way that she grabs is not, so to say, it gives her limited capabilities.
That is Lucia, and as you were saying, Sebastian, negative 8 index, not ideal for climbing.
Route setters need to make sure that the holds are not too far apart, so that it's possible. Also, no matter if the right or the left side is missing, so to say, gives you the same chances here.
So out she goes with that left arm. You can see the stump protected from the roughness of those holds.
Come on, Lucia. Oh, she's struggling.
So she comes down. And Sebastian, something I wanted to talk about is the fact that these routes, we've seen the visually impaired athletes on it. Now we've seen the RP2, AU2. It's so difficult for a route setter to be able to set a route for multiple categories of paraclimbing athletes.
Yeah, the route setters would like to have an own route for every sport class. But the problem is that space is limited. We're already using the speed wall and the whole lead wall. 4 lines in total. I mean, we could squeeze more in somehow, but then it would, so to say, limit the possibilities for traverses, for example, which make also things quite interesting. And so compromises need to be made here, and that means that different sport classes share the same route. For sure, for example, if you have an AU category there, you cannot put, for example, finger pockets. And but climbing is so complex and has so many variations that route setters still have ideas left in the tank to put on the wall.
So another member of Team GB, Leonora Volpe, looks up, rereads the route.
So Leonora has a congenital ataxia, affects mostly her left side, so she has less coordination and also balance.
Eva Moll is being announced on the left.
So you saw Leonora coming on stage in a wheelchair and then walking to the route. You might wonder why does she actually need this wheelchair? Some athletes just use it to save energy, to so to say, find the right balance in between where do I invest my energy. So if someone is sitting in a wheelchair, that does not mean automatically that they are 100% relying on it.
So there she is with a heel hook in now. This tricky series of moves out to the left. Double heel hooks for her. Good flexibility with that right leg. Now reaches up the rope, just coming over her right side. Eva Moll, meanwhile, is in action on the left. We'll flick to her in a second. As we watch, making progress from Team GB. Crossing through nicely into that first little cruxy section. Bumps. The camera pans up just to show what's to come for her. Leonora rests with 4 minutes 50 on the clock. Plenty of time for her. But as we know, time can be a bit of a consideration in these routes. They are long. Lead wall, massive in length, dominating the stage here in Moscow. And you're watching a Paraclimbing World Championships. It's about as big as this sport gets this moment. There's Matt Grimo, joined by Sebastian Depke in the commentary box, bringing you all the analysis from tonight's action. You see with the heel toe jammed in there.
Wow.
And there's Eva Mole. Sebastian, she's not wearing your helmet.
Well, I don't know. Why did she decide? I hope she didn't forget.
Hopefully, yeah. Eva, as well as having the progressive muscle disease she has, she climbs with 45% lung power left. She describes that as basically like breathing through a straw whilst climbing. And you'll see something when Eva comes down from the wall, almost collapsing, and that's just because by that point in the climb, her muscles will not support her anymore. In fact, she has to be supported when a plane lands so she doesn't hit the seat in front of her. That just shows the level of that muscle disease that she has to fight against. But what speed from Eva Mole.
Definitely. I mean, she has an intelligent way of managing her pace and speed, because with limited muscle power, you want to make sure that you want to be careful with where you spend energy and where better not.
So 2 athletes there, and Eva Mole, we do lose her from the back. She will return, but Leonora is still fighting, coming up to the head wall section. And that is Eva Mole, you can see, just leaning back. There's a little more energy that she's had in other rounds. She describes climbing as easier than walking for her. You can see, just being helped, she is okay. It's just by that stage in the competition, in the proceedings, she doesn't have the power to stay.
Yeah, imagine you have given everything you have. What do you want to do, Matt? Lying right next to the sofa, right?
It's every time I climb, Sebastian. What she's going through physically is what I feel mentally when I climb. Complete exhaustion. But what a performance from Eva Mole. Do go and have a look at her Instagram account, by the way. I follow her, and she has some fantastic stories, things to tell.
There we lose Leonora.
Happy with that, though. High up on the route, almost at the head wall.
Slipping from these crimps. Well,
so Eva Mole will leave us down the bottom. Next up for the women's Pavitra van der Hoven. And there is Solène Piret.
Solène has had multiple medals in the past. Climbing AU2, also congenital, that means she was born like this. And in comparison to Lucia we saw before, it's the other side which is affected here. So the routers make sure that it's equal for both.
What a tough job they have. And that is Pavitra van der Hoven, missing both legs. And this lady, I mean, she's become a highlight reel on her own right. I mean, I have watched replays of what she's can do campusing up a route. However, she is on the speed wall. Usually we see her campus on something very overhanging, perhaps an advantage. Now she has to campus on only a 5-degree overhanging wall. That might prove problematic.
Definitely. It's not just pure power pulling here. They need to be very precise, and I'm pretty sure that Pavitra would have liked more to climb on the right side here.
Yeah, she's going to have her anti-style, but we're watching Solène Piret now climbing up. And Sebastian, that stump that she's using, I mean, to me that looks painful. I know it's strapped, but these athletes are used to it, aren't they? That skin has toughened on the stump, and it's something they can use fairly well.
Exactly. Well, they cover it with tape to protect it. But for those athletes who have a congenital impairment, so the stump is not that painful in comparison to those who had an accident, for example, or whatever reason led to an amputation. Those are athletes who mainly have pain there and are not able to be that, let's say, hard with their stump.
Exactly. It toughens up. If I was to try that, then get burns on my arm. And there is Pavitra. She begins her campusing. I mean, look, Sebastian, we've seen people teeter up that traverse to the right. Something she doesn't need to worry about is the feet on this. But obviously, the physicality needed for this kind of style is huge. You can just see it using stumps just almost smear on the wall to keep herself balanced.
She can use some footholds to place her body on, but mostly she's doing everything from her arms. Pavitra was also born like this, and not having legs here gives her a clear weight advantage in comparison to someone who would have, for example, sitting in a wheelchair, but also having both legs. Also, you see on Pavitra's left hand here, there are not 5 fingers. So,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, is about it. I mean, watch this. She's in the crimpiest part of the route here, and now gets almost a little rest there on that dish volume to shake out. She will need it because she's halfway through. A lot more campusing to go.
Yeah, her harness is also a very special one. It's not something you can buy in a regular climbing shop. So these athletes have to adapt in any way, no question.
Pavitra in every final I've had the pleasure of commentating on. She climbs 5C, 6A depending on the route. She describes herself as competitive but loves to inspire people. Well, Pavitra, you do inspire people.
Indeed. Oh, come on, Pavitra. Okay, now it's getting interesting.
She's a power hit.
Is it possible to campus those volumes?
I mean, I say no, but I haven't got her skill. Look at this. I mean, she has to go so
the
far.
left side where she only has 2 fingers, so to say, to say on. She might need to have to cross over. But,
Everything again for Pavitra here, but she's still going. Now she looks to the right, shakes out, wraps the arm around that volume.
Maybe. Wow, not a static way? It's possible. Come on, Pavitra.
She's been taking tips from Laura Rogera here, just that static style.
Come on. Come on.
The pinch on the green, so close.
Oh, no. Come on, Pavitra.
You can hear the crowd getting behind her. We're getting overexcited in the commentary box as well.
You want to crawl into the screen.
We've been quite relaxed during this commentating. Now we're leaning forward, and as you are at home, look at the 2 fingers on her left.
Almost capable of pinching it, but not quite working. Pavitra. Come on. Incredible endurance. She's trying again and again and again. How many tries has she done? Can she cross over with her right?
Oh, I mean, a cross would be huge, wouldn't it?
But there she has 4 fingers.
True, but she is as well.
Yes!
Right,
Come on, Pavitra.
she nails the cross through. This is ridiculous.
You can do it.
How has she got the energy for this?
Come on! Oh, this is so amazing.
Pavitra grimacing against the pump.
Wow. Wow.
I'm exhausted. I don't know about her. That was incredible to see.
We need chalk net.
We do need chalk. I'll sweat your hands. So, Pavitra, final athlete out. And time will tell, but that certainly might be up there in the medal positions. Hard to keep track of it. I've got so excited I forgot what happened.
Me too. Sorry.
And we did lose Selene Piret. We started off with her and we switched to Pavitra. Power from that lady. Huge strength on show. We'll see confirmation of the results in a bit.
Did you count how many tries she did there?
Just endless. I can't believe you called the cross through. If you had asked me if that's possible for a cross through, I would have said no. I mean, how did she bring that right hand?
It's only possible if she places her lower body on the volume below. And that's what she did. She tried before, but she always thought, like, I can stick it. So Solène. Falling on matching those slow points there.
Right, we're moving on now to a different category. We will get confirmation of the results from that soon.
So now we're having men RP1 and men RP2 climbing at the same time. Here on the left side, we're seeing the men RP2 and the overhanging wall. Ben Mayford being introduced on stage, waiting to calm
So that is
down.
the results of, sorry to interrupt you, of women's RP2. So Céline Peyret, we just watched her at 43 plus, easily into that gold medal position. Leonora Volpe in second, Sia Capdevila in third. Bronze. Women's RP1, Pavitra van der Hoven, we watched her battle. Well-deserved gold medal for her. Eva Mol, second place, without Sebastian's helmet, but still great performance. And Marta Pesch in third with the bronze medal. So, let's move on to the men's RP1 and RP2.
Already underway.
Yeah.
On the left side, we see Tim Schafriner from Team Germany, my teammate.
No bias commentary now, Sebastian. You've got to be neutral.
Okay.
Ish.
On the right.
Feel free to not be neutral, by the way. That is...
Benjamin Mayford from Team USA.
So he has a bifida, which limits his strength, range of motion and control of his legs. He's also got a difference in the length of his legs and a limited range of motion in his spine due to a spinal fusion. So a list of impairments for him. Old as V8. 513B, so strong, and he is on, first time we see this purple and white route, about 7B plus.
Meanwhile, Tim on the traverse in the lower part. Tim had a stroke in his head, so to say. So a neurological impairment affecting his right side. So especially if it's getting more pumped, there you see he needs to be very precise on putting his fingers onto this volume. Cannot really coordinate his fingers, and they are pretty much into this position. Also, if he's getting more pumped, he's getting less and less capable of managing his right side. It also affects his feet. Now let's switch over to Ben here.
Yeah.
He's already more than halfway up the wall. Now you see how steep it actually is.
Muscling his way through that section, through the crimps, big right hand bump up.
Still very confident here. Maybe our route setters now also seeing this for the very first time. Does it fit?
Ah, we lose Tim. I mean, look, Sebastian, you're his teammate. Will he be disappointed by that performance or not?
Not at all. Tim is so happy to be in finals. He was in finals with me in Briançon before, and there you see, he couldn't manage to get his ride into this volcano there, and then couldn't stick the left volume anymore.
So nearing the top of the route, Benjamin. Final 3 holds for him. Has he got the power left? He never skips chest day, and he needs it right now. Look at those arms as he goes up with the right hand. One move away.
Last move is not that easy. There is a screw hold on, but it's not in the... Okay.
Just to give some context to that, one of the classifiers who climbs very hard, 7C at least, or AA for Daniel, I can't remember.
No, he's even projecting AC at the moment.
There we go.
He's time 8B plus.
He projects
outside.
8C. He didn't stick that final move when he tried it. He'll hate me for saying this on air, but I don't care. So just to show how hard that route is.
Well, but Daniel, to explain it a bit, Daniel tried the route and he thought like, it's an easy move, and he just slapped up. And that's what I was saying. The screw hold on this volume is a bit to the back. So you really need to go with good confidence on there. If not, there's nothing. There you see it. It's not on the edge. So, well, underestimating moves won't help here.
That's true, even if you climb 8C.
Yeah, so our classifiers tried the routes, and it's so good to have them being involved also in route setting, because they have all the medical details and all. They can explain the backgrounds also to route setters, why it is like this. And it's so good that we have also classifiers who are able to climb these routes.
That is Tana Cislo from Team USA.
In comparison to Tim, he's climbing in the AL1 sport class, so there you see also merging here.
And another athlete, Master Campus.
This time with legs. He would also like, for sure, the more overhanging routes. I think it's good that the route setters have different styles over the season, so that it's not the same all the time, just doing overhanging power moves. And yeah, this time in Moscow, we're having more technical and not so overhanging stuff.
Manikandan Kumar there from India. Great to see Team India in the building. And you can see it is awkward though to campus that angle of wall, especially if you're trailing your legs like he has to do. One arm, look at that, locking off that one arm. Actually having to do a one-arm lock off there in order to make that move, and another one in order to get that.
There you go. Continuing, quite confident.
Finger strength required as well as shoulder and back muscles here. He's through the first volumes, the volcano holds, and now rests for launching up to these small crimps. Might be running out of energy here.
Come on. Oh, well.
I was holding my breath though when he was climbing. So Team USA claps Tanner. He's down. We're halfway through the RP1 and RP2 categories.
Some of our AL athletes have coordination left in their lower legs, so it allows them then, for example, to place their legs on volumes and rest a little bit. But to be honest, the route setters quite avoided this option in the beginning of the route. So, yeah, sadly, we couldn't reach the point where this could be possible, just a few moves further up.
Manikandan, 3/4 of the way through this 7B plus style route. Of course, I'm talking about grades, but I know how annoyed route setters get about grades because it's very difficult to grade these competition standards. But just to give you an idea at home of the kind of level these paraclimbers are having to climb at. That's a great shot of our stadium, Sebastian. I mean, what a place. Our commentary boxes are over to the left-hand side of your screen. So we've got the best view of the house as we lose Manikandan.
His first competition this year. Good to have him back. Manikandan is for a long time within the paraclimbing family, competing many different competitions in the past. So there in the back we see Angelino Zella rolling on stage. Angelino has won every competition so far this year. So here we see the replay of Manikandan Kumar right in the beginning.
Yeah, good performance from him. That high right foot, just struggling to get it, went for the jump instead.
Yeah. Manikandan has a disease which affects the coordination of his right, so that's why he's trying to slap up his leg, so to say. And well, couldn't reach it, and then we lose him.
So Angelino is on the left, and on the right-hand side will be Bastien Thomas.
Bastien Thomas from Team France also won a lot this year, so now we have got 2 gold medal candidates on stage. Let's see what they can do. So Angelino, our power campus machine.
I've heard on the grapevine rumour that he's trying that Stefano Ghisolfi route, the 8A sport route that Stefano Ghisolfi campused. I've heard he's wanting to try that, so I want to see the video of that. And look how quickly he moves through the bottom half of the route into the crimps.
Very confident, and Angelino told me that they are training more and more on not just positive good holds, also on side holds, even underclings. So I'm very curious to see how the sport evolves for these athletes.
Look how quickly he's a third of the way up. This is the rest, if you can call it that, on the flat volume. And waste no time to slap into these slopers.
Pretty confident on those slopers so far.
Pauses for a sec, bumps the left hand, had to readjust with the right, and this is a huge move coming up. Look how far this is away.
Excellent route reading.
Yeah, he's got the right hand in the right position. He's going to have to come with the right. He's to crank up the left.
This move is so far. It's so far.
It's Inception. We're watching a screen, watching the climbing. There we go, back to the actual climbing.
Come on. Don't say no, Angelino.
I mean, that move was, a body length away for him. Huge. And there is
Bastien Thomas, pretty confident. Already, there you see the very last part of the wall. Also climbing with a helmet. Bastien Thomas also has a neurological impairment and he had a surgery on his head. That's why he's wearing the helmet to protect his head. Especially if you have those overhanging terrain with volumes, etc. That's also why I would wear a helmet there. Because, sadly we lose him there.
Yeah, 4 minutes to go. He had time. And as you said, Sebastian, climbing with confidence throughout.
So the helmet will give him way more confidence, and it's something that you don't have to worry about anymore. That's also why I like it, wearing it.
Confidence is something I wanted to ask you about, because if you receive a life-changing injury or illness, and which leads to an impairment, confidence is something that can suffer. You know, you go from your life as you're used to it to a different kind of life. How much can climbing help in terms of a mental recovery as well as learning the physical side of it over again?
It's one of the best therapies that you can get, no question. No matter what you experience in your life, the question is not what happened, the question is what is your next step? What's your answer on that? Are you searching for problems? Are you searching for solutions? Your disability does not care about if you're okay with it or not. It's there. You're the, let's say, sort of like flexible component in this game. And I'm so proud that these guys here are so inspiring. They just change it. They say, okay, I'm different, but it doesn't matter.
Well, we just watched a man, more Michael Sapir on the right. That's Corbien, Frank, and one of your teammates. So we'll talk about more Michael in a minute, because he's an example of what you were talking about.
Exactly. But Corbinian as well. Corbinian, he slept on an icy road, fell, and the car drove over him. Imagine that. Yeah, and now he's here at the World Championships.
What injuries did he sustain from that car?
Well, the car drove over him and he has severe neurological impairment, which gives him less capability of coordination and strength in all of his limbs. So you will see Corbinian doing slightly slower moves than other comparable athletes, also less coordinated. Here you see him approaching this volume, not so confident, sometimes a bit shaky. He also uses 2 chalk bags because he's not able to, it's easier for him to grab to the back. That's why you see there's 2 chalk bags there. Excellent example on how you can adapt.
Well, adaptation, as we were chatting about, more Michael there, because he is someone who had life-changing injuries. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, more Michael Sapir was part of a snowstorm, a blizzard on the Annapurna trek, and where more than 40 people lost their lives. More survived, but his fingers actually didn't. And we're always talking about finger strength if it comes to climbing. There are no fingers left here. All he has is just a part of his thumbs. There you see it, and he still can grab with that. So Moore is one of those examples where I always say, like, make the impossible possible.
And he is, and he's high up. We've seen that man top roots in Briançon. but losing your teammate, I'm sorry, Sebastian.
Now we're interesting in the replay. How far did he get? Who's gonna get to go by the way? Is it Corbinian?
It was the volumes the volcano holds that did for him.
So that automatically means that our gold medal goes to Angelino.
Yes, Angelino taking that victory. Great celebration there. So, nearing the final couple of moves. Remember, the sting in the tail of this route, that top hold looks like a jug. It's not. It's slopey. There's a very small screw on top of it. It is tick marked, but you're so underneath it, so overhanging, it's hard to hit that tick mark.
Can you imagine just hanging on a part of your hand, no fingers, no capabilities to grab, positive holds, big jugs? That's not going to work for you. Finger pockets? You can watch them. You can stand on them.
Yeah, true. Margaret.
Grabbing them?
Oh, but what
Wow.
a move. Look at that. Well, there we go. That's how to do it. Once
And
again, he tops out.
And he put the hand right to the back, and that's why he stick the move.
Easy work for him. That is the gold medal. Oh, is it the gold medal?
No, I think we still have one climber left. No, sorry.
No. I think that is gold for him. Thomas Thomas got close.
Didn't look on the right paper.
It's all right. We've got lots of paper going on. Also liking the harness matching the holds, matching the shorts combo. Style first.
As the athletes don't know before, this was not intended.
I think athletes should start matching outfits to holds. I think it's the way. I mean, already look at the colours on their wall. The route setters are doing it. It's time for the athletes to step up a bit.
It looks like he chose this clothes for this purpose.
Exactly, that's what I mean. They should send a colour palette to all the athletes, and it's up to them to choose to wear the appropriate clothing. Just give me some hints to the IFSC there. This is the gold you get in the commentary box with me and Sebastian. Oh dear.
Doing some rule rewrite recommendations here.
Exactly.
You can always go back and see what was noted on the live stream.
Oh, there's the confirmation. Angelina Zeller, 39 plus. Tana Cislo was second, and your teammate Corbien in third with bronze. So RP1 for the men is done. In fact, we only got 4 categories remaining. Pieces of paper gradually going down here in the commentary box. What an evening of climbing this is. Men's RP2, we just watched him. Michael Sapir topped out that route. Benjamin May 4th in second, 45, and Bastien Thomas in third, that bronze medal. So, it's coming up to 9:36 Moscow time at the moment. Paraclimbing competitions are fairly long, but do stick with us because exciting moments ahead. In fact, there's one route we haven't even seen yet over on the right-hand side.
The red and black route.
The hardest route.
Hardest route. Route setters were saying about something 8A, 8A plus.
Yep.
Very interesting how our men's AL2 and RP3 are gonna climb on that.
Yeah, so 4 categories to go.
So the next one you're gonna see is the men AL2 and men AU2. We're waiting now for the athletes' presentation on stage.
Right, Sebastian, I've got something to ask you, because we've all watched the Olympics this summer. Amazing
Yes.
to see climbing. Why isn't paraclimbing in the Why wasn't it in the Paralympics this year, and when will it be in the Paralympics?
Yeah, I got this question asked a lot of time. I also got emails like "Good luck in Tokyo," and I was like, "No, I'm not there." Well, first of all, the IPC and the IOC, so the Paralympic Games and the Olympic Games, are 2 different events of 2 different organizations. There's a strict catalog on what you need to fulfill to be part of the games, and also sport climbing took multiple tries to get into the games. Sport climbing has been in Tokyo, part of the Olympic Games, and will also be included in the Olympics Games in Paris 2024. For being included in the Paralympic Games, first of all, one criteria is your able-bodied partner sport, so to say, has to be in the Olympics. So while sport climbing has not been into the Olympics, there was no possibility for paraclimbing to apply for it. The application process for the Olympics always goes 7 years in advance. So now it's the year 2021, so by the end of this year, we were gonna apply for LA Paralympic Games 2028. So the sports for Paris 2024 are already decided, and fun fact, it's the same set of sports that we had in Tokyo. So, for example, in Paris, 8 new para sports applied, but none of them was accepted. So once we are there, once we have fulfilled our criteria written in this catalog by the IPC, there's no one clapping and saying like, wow, we've waited for you, now you're finally there. And no, we're just one of many sports who's knocking on that door.
And how close to knocking on the door? We're just watching, by the way, replays of the earlier action, but this chat is fascinating about the Olympics. Thank you, Sebastian. How close to knocking on the door? How close to opening the door are you?
Well, I would say the catalog of criteria is tough. But most of them criteria are quite similar because once you have fulfilled the criteria for the Olympic Games, so say the organizational side of things, that you need an international federation with national federations, competition format, etc. All of that is done at the IFSC. We're talking more about specific parts which have been introduced this year. For example, the new classification system, which was not built to IPC standards before. We changed the rules. And we brought up all those new elements of classification to the stage that we needed to fulfill those criteria. And from that side of things, I would say we're on a good way. It's there, and now we're waiting for the, so to say, application procedure to checking the boxes, answering the question, and waiting to be checked, so to say, and to, let's keep the fingers crossed.
Exactly. Let's hope the IFSC are good at paperwork, because this is a sport I want to see in the Paralympics. I can't wait to see it, and I think it deserves to be there.
Me too.
Good. We're in agreement. Get it in there, everyone, because that is the next step for this part of our sport. So, athletes introduced on stage.
Great reader.
As we see the categories coming out, that is Matt Phillips coming out. I chatted to him earlier. I tell this story often because I think it makes me look very unskillful, but that man, Matt Phillips, destroyed me on a campus board about 3 years ago. Absolutely destroyed me, and I pride myself on being all right at campusing. He is so strong. We'll see more of that in a minute.
Man.
Yeah, the compensation strategy also always leads to some incredible strength in another part, which is over average in comparison to others. By the way, our classifiers who know all the medical details and who tried the route, they say this is so impressive. Climbing it with even a limitation, and that's what, for example, our route setters do. They are trying to climb it just with one leg, being blindfolded, making sure it's working out the right way. And as I said before, try it next time once you're in your gym or on the rock. Just try to climb with one hand, try to climb with one leg, or just close your eyes and see where you end up.
Well, Sebastian, we've talked a lot about the athlete's impairments. Your impairment, how does that affect your climbing when you're out there on the wall?
Well, basically a lot. I cannot move my spine or my hips, so it's all about compensation, and it's always like climbing, you need strength, you need technique, and you also need strategy. If one of those three is affected by your impairment, you have got to make the other two better, so to say. And for me, the pure compensation strategy is strength. That's all I have, that's all I can do. The technical part is very limited, and when I'm climbing, for example, I'm not thinking like, oh, if I wouldn't be disabled, this would be much better now. I'm just, so to say, focused on problem solving. It's like I don't even think about it. I don't even feel being disabled. I don't feel sick. I don't feel disabled. I'm the way I am. I'm okay with that. I'm a happy guy. I'm even, I would say, happier, and the more, I feel more confident than I felt before being disabled, actually, because my life changed so much and opened me a totally new world. And this world is not bad at all. And I'm pretty sure those athletes there on stage,
thank you.
They have similar stories to tell. And for me, it's a big honor here on the live stream to tell them.
Well, Sebastian, you're telling the stories beautifully. And another thing to remember with these paraclimbers is, look, we know climbing does not have a huge amount of money in it in terms of supporting athletes as full-time professional athletes, and even less so for the paraclimbers.
Definitely.
A lot of these athletes are coming, most of them, under their own steam, paying for everything themselves, as are you. I mean, that adds another level of toughness to this.
Definitely. I mean, from the German team, I can say the German Federation gives some support, but you're always left in some parts on your own, especially if you're a new athlete. But there are also other countries where athletes are 100% self-funded. So, yeah, it's it's another level of difficulty coming on top of just being disabled and traveling somewhere and climbing something hard. And chapeau to all of our members from the family to being here, fighting all the obstacles that are there, no matter if they're on the wall or behind the wall, in front of the wall, and overcoming it.
Exactly. I mean, just traveling here to Moscow it's a bit of a nightmare during COVID times, and doing so, if you're in a wheelchair or if you have an impairment, just adds another level of difficulty to it. And it's just, I bring this up just because I think you see this on TV and you think somehow, it's easy to think some of the athletes have been parachuted into this competition. They haven't. They've had to work for it. They've had to get here. They've had to travel.
Definitely.
I mean, all the usual admin faff of visas, but just the sheer difficulty of moving around, it can be exhausting, and then they have to go and perform.
It can indeed. Most of the athletes are used to it. It's for them, it's their, let's say, daily life to find a way for the wheelchair, for example, or for the crutches. And but at the end of the day, you need to bring some effort. There are limitations. If there's a stair and no ramp, and you have a wheelchair, then it's not something you can solve in 30 seconds, like if you were able to walk with 2 legs, for example. You might need support, 8 personnel traveling with you, accompanying you. Visually impaired athletes, they need to bring their own side guides. That puts a lot on top from the financial side of things, also from the organization. So huge respect, and I always say, like, getting here for some is some kind of an expedition.
Absolutely. So we are on our final categories here. We're coming at you from Moscow. This is the World Championships. That's how special tonight is. We're in the commentary box. Front row seats to the spectacle of climbing here this evening.
Now we've got 4 sport classes left for climbing.
Yeah, time to shuffle the paper, Sebastian. We've got lots going on here. I mean, your side of our commentary box, Sebastian, frankly, is disorganised. I'm looking at mine. Look at this, perfect. I've got my water set up to one side. I've got all my paper stacked neatly. You've just exploded everything over your side.
Definitely.
It's the way to go.
It's creative chaos.
Creative chaos. I like that one. Tell my mum. She's called it something different with my chaos before.
An experiment of entropy.
Yes. That's Maxim out on stage from representing CFR.
Climbing the AU2 category. So now we see the men amputee or limb deficiency upper limb. They have not been merged like with the women's to RP2, so they will climb. All of the athletes here have an amputation or limb deficiency. Meanwhile, on the right side, you see the AL2 climbers, both starting at the same time. Now we see the first time the red and black route 8A+.
8A+. I mean, look into those finger pockets, and those finger pockets look positive on camera. Trust me, they're not. Very slopey, hard to hold on to. I'm getting a lot of Gamba support from Team Japan in the audience.
So Shuhei Yuki. Sorry for the pronunciation if it's wrong.
It's all right, Sebastian. You're with me. Anything you say sounds good compared to my pronunciation, so don't you worry.
So we're doing Japanese on-site today.
Yes, exactly. So Shuhei, off he goes.
His leg is completely missing due to cancer. It was an amputation, and that was in the year 2011. He's climbing for 5 years now. He's on the World Championship stage.
Yeah, and we were talking earlier about how to get into this sport. This is what can happen in this sport. Success can come. You find talent you didn't know you had, but he's down. And Maxim is alone on the wall. Loving his style as well. Tattooed up. Just helping that badass paraclimbing attitude.
Most of the athletes also have an interesting sense of humor. They can make jokes where, trust me, you will not know if you're allowed to laugh about it.
I'm glad you brought that up because look at that. Cheering from his home crowd here in Moscow, giving it everything underneath that mask as his athlete is high up on the wall, and there he is.
There we saw Dr. Boulder, his coach.
Great name.
Great name. Yeah, Dr. Boulder, he's training a lot of athletes from CFR and supporting them a lot. We've seen him also in 2019 at the World Championships in Briançon.
His last competition was 2021, I think.
Yeah, but the coach with his team.
Oh, the coach. I'm with you.
He has, and he built his team over the year, and that's there you see Dr. Boulder.
Oh, dude, Dr. Boulder continuing the...
Good job, Dr. Boulder, you grew your team.
So you were talking about the sense of humour, because that's something that, as I said at the beginning, I'm fairly new to the paraclimbing world, and it was something that you reassured me about. You were saying, because I was incredibly worried about saying the wrong thing or putting my foot in it, and you just said, look, you can't. Like,
exactly.
You know, we have this sense of humour. And someone else messaged me, and I can't remember who it was now, another paraclimbing, just saying, it doesn't really matter what you say as long as you make us seem badass. Now, that is so easy to do. It honestly is, because just look at this. I could say nothing, and the badassery of these athletes would be obvious to all. It's just awesome.
So we're ready to go again?
Definitely.
And look at that, goes up with that left stump, brings the left through.
By the way, humor is also a great tactic of how to overcome bad things in life. It's basically a compensation strategy.
Matthew Phillips, Great Britain.
Well, Matt Phillips will be up next from Great Britain. We just watch Maxim's performance here.
Imagine just hanging with a stump on these edges.
Oh, I can't, mate, I can't.
Meanwhile, Albert from Team Spain, starting in the 8A plus there.
One leg 8A plus climbing.
There you see Albert has had a motorcycle accident in the past, and he has a bit of his leg left for climbing. So there are different climbing styles. You see athletes who have no leg at all, like Shuhei before. Albert has a stump left that he can use also for climbing, and you will also see athletes following who were prostheses.
There is Matt Phillips. I chatted about him destroying me on the campus wall. Now off he goes into the 7B plus. So strong, and use that stump of his right arm to such effect as well. Judge just trying to help out.
Bringing his crutches.
Oh, this is huge moves out right, and that body momentum just
slip.
catching him off the barn door.
Slip with his hands. That's it. The athletes have incredible amount of strength, no matter if it's a leg which is missing or, like here, the forearm.
Yeah, Matt Phillips getting things underway. He is a world champion, winning in Innsbruck.
Still pretty confident, more than halfway up the wall, approaching dynamically.
Yeah, Matt Phillips loves his climbing. There's good series online about his progression in outdoor climbing. Very keen outdoor climber. And we watch Belgium's Frederick Leys. He's up next. So Matt Phillips just readjusting. 3/4 way through his route. He's a big bump up with that right stump, makes it stick, brings the left through quickly. He halts the swing. There is Frederick Leys.
So there's Frederick. He was a prosthesis, so he has two legs actually to use. So climbing with the prosthesis means you have no feeling in your foot there. He has to visually, so to say, control, is my feet exactly on the foothold or not? And also a fun detail, if your prosthesis is on the foothold, there's nothing, no extra centimeter you can get out of it. Matthew, for example, he could step on something and just push for an extra centimeter. Not possible with the prosthesis.
It's true, those things you just don't think about. Thank you, Sebastian, for that. Matt Phillips comes down after that jump up. Strong performance from him. the COVID fist bump. I still don't know how to greet people anymore. Fist bump, handshake, elbow tap, who knows? But that's Matt Phillips going up with the right and just missing the screw on, which was small. Look how small it is. I mean, come on, he didn't miss it. He just was barely there.
Yeah, he has no other option. If he would go with the other hand, then he would have to match it. The question is, would that be stable enough then to go into to the finishing hold? So Frederick Lays here, climbing in the steepest part of the route.
Went up for the crimp, lost it on that halfway through the 8A. We are towards the end of the men's AL2 category, and all the athletes in the AL2 category are AL2. Remember, some categories do get mixed. That's the reason why we need more paraclimbers. More people need to come and join our sport so we can have full categories.
Definitely.
Proper categories.
Definitely. In theory, we would have 20. 10 for the men, 10 for the women. At this competition, let me count, I thought it was 11 categories.
We'd have to split it over 2 nights, Sebastian. We can't talk for that long.
Well,
can you? Maybe we could. I don't know. I've done marathons before. I've done 8 hours before. Maybe we could do that.
we could have multiple final sessions.
Yeah. Volunteers will bring us food. It'll be great.
Great. 4 days, of course, qualification. 2 or 3 days of final rounds.
Sounds good to me. Send your suggestions to the IFSC if you want to see that happen. Brian is on the wall now from Team USA. Brian Zuzalia on that tricky purple route. Purple and white alternative holds. Alternating, that's the word. Alternating holds. So he's through the purple and white section. There's the green beckoning where things get small, little screw-ons on top. He stands. You can see again that stump not taped.
So Brian has a congenital impairment. So his his forearm was missing from birth, and he's climbing since 2017. So here we see Thierry Delarue. Thierry climbing with a prosthesis. He won lots of medals in the past.
Yeah, strong performances in Briançon for him as well on our last one. Remember, LA is coming up, we hope soon. There is Brian. His last competition was 2019 in Briançon. He was 8th. Can he upgrade that? Looking strong here in tonight's finals already. Nearing just over the halfway mark for him. That's pretty much the only rest on that 70+-ish route.
Come on.
It's funny, a lot of the coaches filming the action for later, but it's always funny when the camera pans down, you just get a bunch of people pointing upwards to their phones. So slapping up, what a move from him there. Walking the feet up and pressing, aiming for that purple hold. Bumps up with the right, maybe needed to come with that left, but obviously having the stump, it's a very difficult cross-through move for him, so that bump, that's the only way he could have done that. Brian's down. We've only got Kevin Bartek to come for the men's AU2.
So there we see the replay of the lower
Section.
Lower section, the beginning of the overhanging part.
One of our photographers here tonight. Do go and check out Jan Vert, by the way, for the official IFSC photographer. He's a man who works so hard, and you can see all of these action in beautiful photos from him. So this was the cross-through. Look, he bumped. Maybe it was a left cross-through move, but obviously not possible to do. Oh, we lose Thierry. 4 minutes 20 on the clock. Okay, so men's AL2 and men's AU2 are done. We'll see confirmation of that in a minute.
Now, AU2, we still have Kevin climbing.
Oh, sorry, yes,
Kevin
you're right.
Bartken now starting in the route. While we see here the replay of Thierry. Yeah, Thierry is climbing with a prosthesis. It gives him more opportunities for balancing, and also if it comes to less overhang climbing, This gives him an advantage because he has an extra point to be used on the wall. His teammates applauding him. So Kevin, in the meantime, already passing the first anchor with the lower top rope. Being very confident in the shoot so far.
Yeah, that double rope system, if you missed it at the beginning, is just to protect the athletes a little bit more, because there's a big old swing that you can take on these walls.
The falls you get there are pretty strange because you never know in which direction the fall goes. So, and might go quite far to the back. Something you not get if you, for example, just do a normal lead route. So here we see Gregor Selak from Slovenia, the first athlete in the RP3, men RP3 category.
And RP3, that stands for neurological or physiological impairment, and 3 being the least serious, but again, I hate using that word. I don't know what's a better word than serious. I keep using the word serious. There must be a better word, because it's not really severity,
less impacted.
Less impacted. There
Less
you go.
impacted athlete.
Thank you, Sebastian. That's Kevin Bartek, your teammate again, Team Germany. And Team Germany, strong.
Yeah, we are here with 8 athletes. 3 met into finals. Sadly, we couldn't bring a bigger team, but we're working on it.
Yes, you are. And this man, very decorated in his career. In fact, medals in every single competition that he's entered since 2017. And he's climbing his way towards another one here tonight.
Yeah, Kevin is same age as I, and we are also competing for Team Germany exactly for the same time.
Okay.
Kevin is also a very experienced outdoor climber. He has also experience in alpine, big wall, multi-pitch, sport climbing, not just competition climbing. He was, by the way, also talent scouted, so to say, by a former teammate. He also didn't know that the paraclimbing sport actually exists. There we see Gregor Selak falling.
Yeah, early on.
Early on, maybe not that happy with his performance.
Well, we say early on, actually, it's about halfway, so, well, a quarter
okay.
way.
Not matching this little crimp there. So Gregor has MS.
We are watching your teammate fall, final athlete out for the AU2, so we should see some confirmation of scores in a minute. There it is, men's AL2, Thierry Delarue, first place, Frederick Leys in second, Shue Yuki in third, 16 plus, that's men's AL2.
As the AL2 is sharing the route together with the RP3, we expect lower results for the AL2.
Matthew Phillips winning AU2, followed by Brian Zalou. Yeah, sorry, bad pronunciation from me. And then Kevin Bartek in third. Another bronze medal. We said he got bronze medals in every single competition, and he continues that theme now. Sebastian, I know you have to leave me fairly soon here, or start to think about leaving, so you're going down to the stage. You're coming back, though. Don't worry, everyone. Sebastian is not going. But before he does go, I just want to say I'm sure he wouldn't mind that if anyone has any questions that they need answering, and Sebastian's hit a nerve with you, he is on Instagram. Do go follow him along, and I'm sure you can drop him a question on there. He'll be happy to answer your questions.
Sure. Also, all the athletes, most of them have social media. Just search for them, contact them, and if you want to get involved in paraclimbing, just approach us. We are there. We are answering.
Exactly.
So, talk to you later.
Yes, so you've got, well, you can stay with me a little longer, perhaps. So you've got three to go. Maybe one last one?
Yeah.
God,
okay.
stay one last one, Sebastian. I don't want to lose you yet. So Sebastian's going to stay one last, and he's going to make his way down to the stage.
Yeah, we just started the women RP3.
That's Katharina Riet.
Yeah, we still have a little time left.
Yeah, you're all good.
Katharina had a snowboard accident in 2001. She's had high speed and bad luck. Ended in a bad way, but luckily she survived. And even worse, she had a mountain bike accident a few months ago. That's the reason why she was not in Briançon. She was competing in Innsbruck, and now, even being still affected by this accident, she's back on stage and climbing in the finals.
Can't shut down extreme sports. We're making fantastic progress on that route is Mathieu Besnard. Nearing the end here, final section of it. So we lose both athletes almost simultaneously. So, 4 athletes in this category, 1 gone, 3 more to go. Waves goodbye to the crowd and she leaves the stage. Katrina from Austria. And Mathieu, oh sorry, Mathieu, we've got 2 left, the men's RP3. And what a competition it's been so far. Not many tops, but those that have been topped, spectacular.
Yeah, the route setters will like it because too many tops, and also the athletes. If you have too many tops, it's then it comes back to count back on previous round. If they have the same result, most likely they also have 2 tops in both qualification routes. Yeah, then it comes down to time, and that's not what the athletes want. So I would say so far, great separation by route setters. Good job, and fantastic show.
Yeah, we see a replay of that moment. Bumping up on the first route, about 7A plus. See that moment where she fell again, slapping up for the second of those jugs. Iman Edrissi. There he is. Shaking out on that 8A plus. I just keep saying 8A plus and being a bit staggered that I keep saying it. I mean, these routes do jump in difficulty, don't they? From that 7B plus to this 8A plus. And the route setters, I mean, they can set routes that hard because of the difference in the impairments and disabilities of the athletes themselves.
Definitely, definitely. They try to mimic us a little bit and then try to see if it works. For sure, and forearm amputation or limb deficiency is something you cannot mimic that easy. Or for example, someone who has 30% less coordination or strength. So there are limitations, but I would say over the years they have so much experience, and the team of route setters is growing and growing, and the routes are getting better and better. It's playing and trying and experimenting.
That was Manka from Slovenia. Early fall from her. But early on in this finals, will it be enough for her? So medals being decided. Remember, bronze, silver and gold for each category. And we're going to say goodbye to Sebastian for the time being. He's got a very important job to do on stage. So I'm going to say goodbye to Sebastian for a couple of minutes and then he'll be back.
Thank you. On the right, Romain Magnon, France.
Right, so Sebastian exits down. Sorry about that, just sorting Sebastian out to leave the commentary box. He's on his way. And we watch our final couple of athletes. Competing out here on the stage. Romain Pagnu of France stands up through the bottom half of this 8-8. We see another phone-in-phone shot. Cameraman liking that angle. And they're from Great Britain, Martha Evans. She's on the 7A plus over on the left. Shakes out, reaching up through the middle half of the route. Crosses through, you can see breathing hard. Our microphone's catching every moment of these athletes' effort. Big effort from him. Out again to the slopers, standing up on the heels. Fantastic technique from him as he comes into the hardest part of this route. Hideous. That's the way this was described by the classifier who tried it. And remember, that classifier can climb 8C. So if he says it's hideous, it truly is. And he loses it on the left pinch. Giving it absolutely everything on that moment. So Romain Pagnu comes down. Will it be enough for him? We'll get confirmation of those results very soon. Martha Evans from her route. So one final athlete to go here. See a replay of that, snatching up onto the pinches. He will return to the earth. 4 minutes 19 on the clock. Time not playing a factor here tonight. The sheer difficulty of these routes being enough to separate these athletes. So we have a moment of pause. Belayers waiting for our final athlete out here tonight. Lucie Jarige from France. Lucie, numerous gold medals to her name. You look at her competition history, that's filled with golds. 2021 has been good to her so far. First in Innsbruck, second in Briançon. What can she do here tonight? Dumps the crutch, looks back at her belay, gives him the nod, and off she will go. She lost that left leg, just 15, due to bone cancer. She's a big fan of indoor climbing, loves Innsbruck Kletterzentrum gym. I mean, who doesn't? What a gym that is. Campus boarding is her preferred method of training, so steel-like fingers from her. Crosses through, and she'll need every bit of that finger strength on this route. Small holds throughout. A real windy route, starting on the right, going left, back rides again, and she's on that first right dog leg now. Those side pulls, have seen a lot of action here today. It's certainly the little first crux of this route. So Lucie stretches out with the right, pressing against that volume. Now bumps into the juggy rest section where she'll probably take a moment just to compose herself, cutting loose there, finding a little knee bar scrub, and then bringing that left stump way up high. In professional life, she's chemistry scientist, as well as showing climbing off to the world. She likes to show science off as well, travels around the general public and schools talking about science as a career. So Lady Hugh is all about the inspiration. Pumps the right out twice, halfway through now. Into the back, slopey volumes up high. Stretches out with her fingers, just reaching around the corner. It's more of a foothold, that though. Really, there's a little crimp above her head. There, brings it through with the left, finds it this time. Almost got caught with that trick from the route setters, that foot instead of a heel, instead of a hand. Now, the first really big move of this route. Swings again. She's really got that swing move down, manipulating her body over to the right and left, depending on where it needs to be. Is that a shake out or is that a pump up to the crowd? It is a pump up to the crowd. Flexibility with that left stump. Out onto the slopers. Are we about to see another top, a final top of this evening? That would be great. I want to see one more here tonight in Moscow. Catches the swing, holding on to absolutely nothing. She missed the screw-ons. One final move to go for her, climbing herself into this gold medal position now. Will stand up high to the top. Fingertips out, palming it, creeping her way towards the jug. Down she comes finally. Fantastic performance from Lucy. Waves to the crowd, and what an evening entertainment we have had. I said spectacular, and it really was, watching these athletes compete here tonight. I'm all alone in my commentary box right now. Sebastian's expertise, always invaluable during these events. Of course, we'd all love to see him climbing in the finals, but personally, it's a pleasure to have him. Just see a replay of that top. What a moment for her. Waves to the crowd. So we will wait now for the award ceremony. First of all, we have a rather poignant event, which we'll talk about in a second. Let's look at the results for the men's RP3. Romain Pragnot, 27 plus for him. Mathieu Bernard getting the same score, separated by time. He's got the silver, and Iman Edrissi third with bronze medal, 23 plus for him. Women's RP3, Lucie Jarige in first place with a top, and what a top that was. Second, Martha Evans from Team GB. Fantastic Paraclimbing World Championships Team GB have had, and Katrina Ritt third with the bronze. Wow, I hope you enjoyed that, ladies and gentlemen, back at home. We've got the award ceremony to come, and do stick around for the next part of this show. This is where Sebastian has gone off to. He's entering stage now. It'll be sad remembering of a lady's life. Celebration as well of what she did and achieved. We'll get to that in a minute. And then we have the podiums, and a few podiums, as I'm sure you're aware. I'll be going down to interview all of the winners in a marathon of interviews. Just some more speaking. Remember, tomorrow we have the women's bouldering semi-finals and finals. I'll be in the commentary box along with Hannah Moyle. Finals, I have no idea who'll be joining me. We'll see. It's one of my jobs, is to run around like a maniac trying to find people to come up and join me. And then we progress with the men's semi-finals and finals in bouldering before moving on to the lead qualifications on Monday and Tuesday, our final day of competing. It's going quickly. It's Friday at the moment. I say it's going quickly. We've got loads to get through, haven't we? So the bouldering is up next over the weekend. So if you're not out climbing, in fact, even if you are out climbing, stop climbing. Come and watch us on the IFSC here in Moscow for the World Championships. It only happens every 2 years. And we're just having a little pause here in proceedings. Don't go anywhere. That's our stadium here in Moscow. The speed wall on the left being utilised as a lead wall for a change. I was told they were using the speed wall. I actually thought the paraclimbers would be climbing on the speed route.
Вернись, пожалуйста, микрофон.
Bouldering wall, we haven't seen any holes. In fact, it's covered right now for the semi-finals tomorrow in the middle. The route setter's doing a good job of covering the holes. The lead wall was covered by lights. Some very trippy lights to stop the athletes getting too much of an idea. Bouldering wall covered because it's easier to do so. Imagine trying to drape a lead wall. I've seen it done, but it is a complicated logistic exercise, that one. So Sebastian is down on the right-hand side of the stage. I can see him from my commentary box. He's just off camera. Might be setting up for the podiums first, perhaps. Take a little moment to rest if you're watching. And hello to everyone back at home who's joining us here tonight. And there's a dedicated following for paraclimbing and a lot of new faces. Thank you for all the messages you've been sending about how much you enjoy this side of our sport. Big up to the organisers for tonight, by the way. It's a logistical nightmare trying to organise this many people into 2 stadiums. My own ego, I mean, that takes 3 people to manage as it is. But they have done a brilliant job of organising everything from the logistics, airport runs, hotels. We only just returned from Russia from the Youth World Championships. And we're here for the Senior World Championships. Before we move on, in only 2 weeks' time to South Korea for the final event of the season, last bouldering event. And then the season draws to a close. Back in Switzerland when it all started earlier on this year. Thank you for see I'm in the commentary box alone, but thank you for everyone as well, those of you listening, for welcoming me to the commentary box. It's been a steep learning curve. I've enjoyed every single second of it, so thank you for allowing me to be your voice throughout these proceedings. We're waiting now for the next part of tonight, podiums and a special event to come. Then the interviews. Watch a little replay of the action, so sit back and enjoy the performances from our athletes here tonight.
We are all born with different strengths and weaknesses. When we see someone looking different from the norm, we tend to assume their life must be hard. It's very easy to believe that the opinion of the outside world is an absolute and cannot be changed. I'm just a little seedling who's not strong, not big, not symmetrical. However, what is deep inside also matters. Our soul is our root with which we cling and seek water. If, like children, we stay open and give ourselves the chance to try things that seem completely meaningless, incomprehensible, and difficult, then miracles can happen. Melinda's miracle was climbing, and the root of the small tree found water. The tree began to grow, to expand, to bloom, to bear fruits and food to others. The seemingly insane idea of someone climbing a wall or a rock with a shorter limb created a wonderful tree. Melinda was motivated by climbing to develop and win challenges by gaining more and more self-awareness and self-confidence. The tree began to grow. She wanted to be aware of the weaknesses in climbing, and she tried to fix them. Because of physical asymmetry, the archer had waist, shoulder, and elbow problems, but she worked on them. Every workout or competition gave her more and more opportunity to develop, to be a better climber, a better competitor. She was looking for answers. She worked a lot to improve herself. In our work together, we realized that the smaller hand seems to be a weakness, but it is in fact an advantage that can be used in certain situations, and in some cases, it can even be better than a regular hand. The tree began to expand. They say it's up to you. Here are some examples of what went on in Melinda's mind. She saw the races as a celebration, where members of the disability family could meet again and use their achievements to push the next generation to achieve even bigger goals. She always smiled, tried to feel good, was light but focused at the same time. She showed an amazing positive vibe, setting an example for all athletes to follow. The tree blossomed. Who would have thought that someone who starts climbing as an adult and then competes at the age of 34 and can win a world championship silver medal and a bronze? She stood on podiums 8 times out of 9 competitions. The tree began to bear fruit. In every competition, she was happy to have more and more people and a growing family, a community. I remember when she told me she wanted to do something for other people with disabilities. I thought it was a fantastic idea, and I supported her to the maximum. I encouraged her to try to organize a day to introduce people with disabilities to this beautiful sport. Luckily, she managed to find companions in the Berlin climbing gym in Germany who helped her to run this event, which was followed by a similar one. Later, she began to hold training sessions for the disabled on a weekly basis, creating opportunities for a more active physical and social life for the visually or physically impaired. The tree gave food to others. Unfortunately, the tree has fallen under the winds of destiny, but still it feeds new trees so that they can grow, expand, bloom, bear fruits, and give food to others. Well done, Melinda. Friendly, Akos Dos.
Sorry I missed the beginning of this, but this is a dedication to Melinda, who sadly lost her life recently in a fall while she was out hiking in Germany. She's a lady that I had the privilege of meeting, and now we remember her.
Hi, Melinda. I'm talking to you because you are here. I can feel you beside me. I can feel you climbing with me on these routes. I can feel you thinking with me on the best way to do it, and I will bring you with me on the podium if I make it. That's what we were. We were just one. People think that climbing is an individual sport, but I can say that with you it was not. During competition, we were always together, talking of the best way to warm up, sharing snacks before the route, talked about the setting, and we were always on finals together. We used isolation time to update each other about our private life. I've got so many things that I would like to tell you. It was so funny to see how we were living the same life in different countries. We had the same power, same fears, same kindness and same weakness. I cannot say I found a friend in you. I found another me. I remember the first time we met, a place like this, same situation, competition venue. But since our eyes crossed, our souls have spoken to each other. We never felt like we were competing against each other. We were there for each other. During the final observation, we gave each other advice, thinking which move would be the best. Whatever the result, we shared pure joy, winning or not. And you were there, on my side, on all podiums, always one step higher, and I was so proud of you, proud of our friendship. You were a force of nature. You never stopped. You were always searching for something, always looking forward to new ways of feeling, living, and loving. You were always sociable and kind to everyone, always had gentle words to help others feel better and believe in themselves. You were very keen to weave your web of friendship. You always wanted to talk, learn, compare, so you could work on yourself and help others do the same. So full of enthusiasm, sweetness, confidence, but you were also burning fire for what was close to your heart. Now I can remember with a smile how upset you were on your last competition. This is you, always ready to fight and invest in what you believe. It's kind of ironic that you, so brave to climb without a hand, had a fall walking. Sometimes life's got its own way to give and to take. You were such a good climber, a good woman, full of passion for the mountains, and you enjoyed it until your last breath. Your life has been too short, and this is a reminder for us to live the present because we will never know what can happen tomorrow. You were living your dream every day, and we are happy to have had the opportunity to walk beside you on this path, which is life, sharing all those emotions with you, and we will bring you in our hearts for the rest of our days.
When one in our family is leaving us alone, a lot of questions are coming to our mind. We try with any means to fill the emptiness that the loss is creating in our lives. But we don't have all the answers. The only thing we can do is keep our faith. We keep us believing in our dreams, in the dreams that has driven Melinda's life. In order to make our sport for all and everyone, united in our diversity to make the world a place for all and everyone. Now I ask you to tribute a minute of silence in memory of Melinda. Thank you. Farewell, Melinda.
We take a moment to remember Melinda's life. Thank you to everyone who observed that silence and to everyone listening back at home. A very emotional moment here in the auditorium and stadium. She will be remembered by all. It's now time to do the podium places for tonight's winners. So much dedication and hard work goes into this moment, and we take a second here to celebrate. They'll be on stage receiving their medals in a couple of moments, and then we'll be going down to interview the winners and have a chat with them. So we're almost ready now. The athletes are backstage getting ready to pick up their medals. Cameramen are poised. Organisers are ready. The light guys have switched their lights on. Everything's done that needs to be done. Now we just need to see our winners. And here it is, done in spectacular Russian style. Our podium finishers, our podium places will come out. And join us on stage.
Dear friends, welcome to the awarding ceremony of the IFSC
Jesse Dufton
Paraclimbing
in
World
third for
Championships
men's B1 category.
2021. Дорогие друзья, добро
Show
пожаловать на
Aita
церемонию награждения
winning.
чемпионата
What a
мира
performance
по
from him, first top
параскалолазанию
of the night.
2021 года.
We
The
saw
awards
first
will
athlete
be
out and first top.
represented by. Награды будут вручать
Razavan Nerdu in second place with the silver medal.
the president of the International Federation of Sports Climbing, Maria Scalaris, президент Международной ассоциации по скалолазанию Мария Scalaris, honorary member of the International Federation of Sports Climbing Александр Ефимович Пиротинский, почетный член Международной Федерации скалолазания Александр Ефимович Пиротинский, and the jury president of the competition Франсуа Леонардон и главный судья соревнований Франсуа Леонардон. лазанию 2021 года в дисциплине «Трудность» в группе B1. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our men medalists of the Lead World Championship 2021. In the discipline lead is in Group B1. Bronze medalist representing Great Britain, Dapton Jesse. Silver medalist representing Romania, Nedu Razvan. Серебряную медаль завоевал представитель Румынии, Неду Разван. Под ваши аплодисменты.
So Sebastian is back with me in the commentary box after that emotional tribute to Melinda. Sebastian, I know you're taking a moment to gather your thoughts here, but right now we're looking at Razvan Nedu picking up his silver medal. Sebastian, a beautiful tribute there. Thank you for your words here this evening.
You're welcome. It was an honor for me to do it. I knew Melinda also personally. She lived in Spain, in Germany. A while. We trained together.
Japan, your applause.
So, for me as athlete representative, it was clear to me to read the speech from the Hungarian coach, who could not be here with us.
You did a great job, Sebastian. Thank you. And we'll talk about Melinda's life more in a minute. And right now, Show will receive his gold medal. We watched him top out, the first athlete out. What a way to kick off our World Championships as we pause for the national anthem of Japan.
Дамы и господа, ваши аплодисменты.
So the first podium is done here tonight. That's men's B1. Fantastic from all of our athletes here tonight.
By the way, the top we saw in the route was the only visually impaired topping the route, and it was the B1.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. It was the first one out. Absolutely smashed it.
And the one who sees nothing.
I know.
Not the B2, who has his own visual feedback.
You'd never know, would you? He climbed it so fluidly, so
Давайте еще
cleanly.
раз поддержим аплодисментами наших медалистов.
And now I see also new,
Applause,
also
please,
the side guides
to our
get medals.
medalists.
Has been updated in comparison to past competitions.
Really? They didn't get one before?
No.
What? That's disgraceful. I'm glad that's been adjusted.
So you see, we're changing things as well.
Yeah, that's good to see. Well, they will exit. Now, we have got quite a lot of podiums here tonight. Perhaps watching podiums isn't your thing, but hopefully you'll stay and support our athletes here tonight. We'll be here. We're not going anywhere.
No.
Thank you very
I
much.
said before, we have time.
Ladies
got
and
time.
gentlemen,
We have
please
time.
welcome
We have
our
a list.
women medalists
We do have a
of
list
the
of things, and I think
World
we've covered most of the things we wanted to chat about, because both me and Sebastian are obviously passionate about this part of our sport. We wanted to make sure lots of questions were covered. And I think we've pretty much done it, Sebastian. I mean, the only thing we haven't really looked at is sort of, and which I'd like to delve into a bit more, is sort of this link between sport and life with disabilities. Because it's something that I'm a climber, I'm a passionate climber, I climb 3-4 times a week. It's a huge part of my life. And it is for these athletes as well. In the same kind of way. You know, they are in the gyms, they're training, they're thinking about it. I mean, you must be, you're a climber. How often do you spend your time thinking about climbing, wishing you were climbing?
I dream of it. Now we see the podiums of the women coming on stage. Yeah, climbing is it's a part you cannot take away from life, from me or also from them. And well, the relation between paraclimbing and life, what we had before on stage, the ceremony for Melinda, was the perfect example. Now you're maybe a climber. You don't know what happens. Tomorrow you may be a paraclimber. And there are many examples here on stage where exactly this occurred.
There is.
Nadia Bredice,
Your applause to our medalists.
Women's B2.
Давайте
bronze medal.
поддержим наших медалистов громкими аплодисментами.
The medals, the trophies they're giving out here.
Due to COVID regulations, they have to put them on themselves. So, but imagine a visually impaired athlete, there's nowhere to grab. So, good they have their side guides there as well.
That's true. I'm glad that logic has come through in amongst the COVID restrictions.
Дамы и господа, прошу всех встать, ведь сейчас прозвучит государственный гимн.
Getting the flowers, getting the trophy. And now we listen to the national anthem.
Дамы и господа, перед вами медалисты чемпионата мира. Давайте их еще раз поддержим громкими аплодисментами.
Right, so our athletes take a moment in front of the photographers. There's a big finals here tonight, but we'll be with you all the way. And me and Sebastian were talking off camera? We're not on camera, we should be on camera. We're not on camera. Off radio, maybe. Sebastian, you were saying something about, well, to explain to people watching what you were saying.
Today was the perfect example that life is what happens when you had other plans. As I said during the climbing, most of the athletes here,
Ladies and gentlemen,
they have experienced so incredible things like accidents. Most of them could have died.
In the discipline lead is
And yeah, they made it here. And I think that's something, aside all the climbing, the medals, also those who don't make it to finals, it's something to respect and to think of. And also when I'm talking to others who are disappointed about their climbing results, it's like, look back the way you have gone. Look back where you are coming from. You can be proud of that. Because sometimes you tend to forget because it's so normal. You know, you hear you're climbing and you tend to say that the new normal has always been like this and that's it. In fact, it's not. It's worth sometimes looking back and be proud of yourself and accomplish what you've done.
Well, there we go, proud of what you've done. Is that man there who will receive his bronze medal? Raul gets the bronze. And of course, I mean, a lot of these athletes, you know, they've made it to a real pinnacle in terms of sporting
Silver
achievement
medalist
right now. A lot of people are
representing
slipping through the cracks, and
Great
hopefully someone's watched this and thought, you know what, I
Slowcoat.
might have a disability, I might have an impairment, I want to join this sport.
Серебряную медаль
And it's very
завоевал
inclusive, it's very open, and we've seen
представитель
athletes who already started a
Великобритании
couple of years ago
Slowcoat.
standing on
Ваши аплодисменты.
podiums. I mean, it's accessible for everyone.
Definitely, it is. So look in your country if there are occasions for
Gold
paraclimbing
medalist
or
and the
inclusive
winner
climbing.
of the Speed
If you
World
have someone from your
Championship
country you saw here on stage,
2021 goes to
try if you can find them, maybe text them.
Famiya
And trust me, most of them are happy
from
to be
Japan.
contacted and give you more information about paraclimbing.
Absolutely. Come and join us. Sebastian and me will be talking about you in a few years' time if we're still around. Richard Slowcock got his silver medal there. And then Team Japan's Fumiya gets the gold around his neck. This is men's B2.
So B2
Ladies and
has
gentlemen, please rise
Richard
for
left.
national anthem of Japan. Дамы и господа, прошу всех встать. Сейчас прозвучит государственный гимн Японии. Дамы и господа, ваши аплодисменты медалистам чемпионата мира.
So, women's RP1. They will have their photos taken. And then leave the stage. B2, I was ahead of myself there. As I said, paper admin nightmare. Do apologise, it's the dyslexia kicking in.
and the light is not the best in here, I also have to say.
Let's go with that. And maybe it's coming up to 11 o'clock at night here in Moscow. Me and Sebastian, a little bit tired. Well, Sebastian's not. He's fresh as a daisy. I'm perhaps a little weary, but this is a great moment. And I do love the podiums because you just see so much raw emotion on these athletes' faces. Next up is the women's RP1. Right, Sebastian? Am I right on that one? I think so.
Still sorting my papers.
Oh, yes! Sebastian's having an
Please welcome our women medalists of the Lead World Championship 2021. In the discipline lead
So,
within group
was I right, RP1?
RP2.
No.
No, I
Дамы
wasn't
и
right.
господа, прошу приветствовать
It's
медалистов
women
среди женщин на
RP2
чемпионате мира
merged
по
AU2.
2021.
So we're doing the podiums not in order.
That's what confused me, you see. I mean, how am I meant to know? I've got my piece of paper aligned. And we're missing silver medalist at the moment. Selene Piquet is in first. Not sure where she is. Not sure anyone knows where she is. Where is she? It's pointing.
Looking. If you're standing there on stage, you actually don't see that much because
The lights.
all the lights are shining right into your face. So they are not the ones. There, she's coming.
Fantastic.
Not on camera yet, but
There we go. From Team GB. Nora Volpe joins us.
Bronze medalist
So, all three up on stage.
Italy, Lucia Copavilla. Бронзовая медаль вручается представительнице Италии
Hanging on stage,
Люсии
doing that
Копавилле.
very
Под ваши
moving tribute.
аплодисменты.
It's Melinda.
She did great, and I know from her it was not easy for her. Also, many of our athlete family were hit really hard by this.
Леонора Вольпе. Серебряную медаль завоевала представительница Великобритании Леонора Вольпе.
Was observing social distancing rules.
Gold medalist and the winner
Stretch over the
of
top.
Speed World Championship 2021.
For the winner,
Золотая
Selene
медаль
Piret.
победы в чемпионате мира
So
по
decorated.
скалолазанию goes
So
to
talented, so successful.
Solène
Another gold medal
Piret.
for her. She is world champion.
She's representing France. Золотая медаль уходит представительнице Франции Солен
So the French
Piret.
national anthem will play across our stadium. Let's sit back and enjoy that, shall we?
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the national anthem of France. Дамы и господа, прошу всех встать. Сейчас прозвучит государственный гимн Франции. Ваши аплодисменты нашим медалистам. Your applause to our medalists.
So another podium down. I'm going to stop guessing who's coming next because the order is a little confusing.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our women medalists of the Lead World Championship 2021 in the discipline Lead is in Group RP1.
RP1.
Прошу приветствовать медалистов
The lady
среди
said so.
женщин на
Must be
чемпионате
true.
мира по параскалолазанию
So
2021
the most severe
В
affected
дисциплине
sport
трудной
class by their impairment.
RP1.
It's interesting to see that it works if you merge also AL and RP athletes together. Sure, fairness can always be discussed here. And I'm always, if it comes to athletes complaining,
Bronze medalist
you always have an upper end and a lower end of a sport class.
Maria
And sometimes, even if you're not on the podium, you have to accept that maybe you are a personal winner in comparison to your personal limitations, your disability, which will not be rewarded. But it's not like able-body climbing where it's more equal or comparable when they are discussing about ape index, size, weight, arm span.
Well, this difference is something that's quite sort of obvious in this category because we've got a mixture of AL and RP athletes.
Yes.
People are going to watch this and say, look, it's unfair. And I know this is an obvious criticism to level. And we've discussed the fact that we prefer athletes to be climbing rather than not climbing. But it is tricky. If you look at this as an outsider, you think, oh, hang on a sec, someone has no legs climbing with someone with legs. It looks unfair. Again, for people who missed our explanation at the beginning, just explain it a little bit. The combining of categories.
Yeah, the merging concept is so we have minimum criteria to open a sport class for competition. Because at the end of the day, if you would want to make it as fair as possible, then almost everyone would compete in his own sport class. then we would have 100 gold medalists, and it would actually not be a competition, it
Ladies
would be
and
more like a
gentlemen,
joke.
please rise for the national
Sorry, I'll stop you there. So we'll
anthem
carry on this
of
conversation in 1
Belgium.
minute after the national
Дамы и
anthem.
господа, прошу всех
We've got to
встать,
fit in the information in between the songs.
It works.
гимн Бельгии. Дамы и господа, ваши аплодисменты нашим
Merging the categories, the sort of the best of a bad situation involved, hundreds of gold medals going out.
Definitely. So the idea is we group athletes together where you have a comparable, or at least coming close to comparable level of possibilities for climbing. And then we let them compete. There are other sports where there are even more different impairments mixed together. And in some para sports, they have lots of sport classes, for example, athletics or swimming. I think it's even more than 40 sport classes there to be fine, granular, and fair for everyone. But there are also sports who only have one sport class, for example, in power weightlifting. So we in paraclimbing, we have 10 sport classes at the moment. So I would say we're somewhere in between. And the concept of merging allows us to have people competing whose sport class is not big enough to reach the minimum criteria and to have their own competition.
So the minimum criteria, what is the minimum criteria?
So the minimum criteria is, for a World Cup, it would be 4 competitors out of 3 different countries. For World Championships, how we have it here today, it's 6 athletes from 4 different countries, so even higher. And well, as we have 11 sport classes running tonight, you see there are still 9 missing. So if you're out there and think, hey, I fit in there, please knock on our door.
Do. I mean, not literally Sebastian's door, he might call the police, but I mean the IFSC door, actually they might call the police. Just, look, I tell you what, send us an email, or something like that.
DM some athletes you saw here.
Yes, exactly. DM them up and do go and follow Sebastian on Instagram when you're at it. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to shout as Instagram
Дамы и
on YouTube.
господа,
I'm going to
сейчас
do
я
it.
попрошу всех встать,
Sebastian
потому
deserves
что
some support.
прозвучит
That is more Michael Sapir.
Израиля.
He
Ladies
topped
and
out,
gentlemen,
always a
please
powerful
rise
climber,
for
missing the
national
fingers of
anthem
both
of
hands.
Israel.
Listen to the national anthem of Israel.
Дамы и господа, перед вами медалисты чемпионата мира. Давайте еще раз
Well done if you've been with us since the beginning. We have 4 podiums to go. And thank you to everyone who's been sending support for these events. I know a lot of people sitting at home really enjoying tonight's entertainment and climbing. A lot of new people to the sport as well.
And also greetings to our family members who could not come here to Moscow to compete here. I know you're sitting in front of your screen. You would have liked to come, but for whatever reason, it was not possible.
You do mean climbing family? It's not your
Yes.
mum competing?
No.
Right.
No, it's our paraclimbing family.
Right, thank you. I just want to make that clear. Sebastian's mum on stage, busting out the moves. So, RP1 for men, they're coming out.
Медалистов среди мужчин на чемпионате мира по параскалолазанию 2021 года.
There's your teammate, Sebastian, raising his hand in celebration. He's enjoying this moment.
Corbinian. He's always having fun. He's enjoying this so much.
What happens once your teammate wins a medal? Does it sort of get passed around in the bar after the event? I mean, what happens? I'd want to hold it if someone had a medal. Try it on, maybe.
Yeah, you can try with mine.
Oh, you've got one, haven't you? Yes, go on. In
Yeah.
Brianne's song, you won bronze in the commentary box. Oh, please bring it next time. I'll never take it off.
Бронзовая медаль
There he
вручается
is. Corbinian
представителю
wins the
Германии
bronze.
Карбиниону Франко.
A moment for him.
Silver medalist represented USA.
Corbinian is, for me, a
tenor
perfect example of no
Сислов.
matter what happens, just go on.
Серебряную
And the others
медаль
as well.
завоевал представитель Соединенных Штатов Америки тенор Сислов. Под ваши аплодисменты.
So from Team USA, that is Tanner Kislo. Gets his silver.
Gold medalist and the winner
finally,
of the Speed
that
World
man,
Championship
Angelina Zeller,
2021, representing
wins again.
Austria.
Another medal for him.
Angelino
The
Zeller.
world champion.
The world
Золотая медаль
champion.
и победа
Wow. That gave me
присуждается
goosebumps when I said that. Imagine being able to
Австрии.
say that.
Анджелину
I think it would win every argument I'd ever have. I'd just say, stop, I'm the world champion. Enough said.
Campus world champion.
Yes, Campus world champion, that's true.
Ну, а вас, дамы
You
и
should go to
господа,
Biff in
я
the
попрошу
UK.
сейчас встать, потому что прозвучит государственный гимн Австрии. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the national anthem of Austria. Дамы и господа, давайте
So another one done.
наших
2 more to go,
медалистов
ladies and gentlemen. In fact,
перед
we've got one more of
аплодисментами.
speaking through it, and then we're going to head down and I'm going to
Your
speak
applause
to
to
the
our
winners.
medalists.
I think one day Angelina will have to extend his medal room.
Does he have a room?
I don't know, but if he continues like this, he definitely needs one.
Medal room, that'd be cool, wouldn't it? Most people happy with a shelf, but no, not that man.
Angelina, he was coming from a paragliding accident. He fell from 20 meters to the ground.
Seb, every time you say this, as a
And he
paraglider,
survived.
yeah,
You are a
I'm a
paraglider.
paraglider, a very recent paraglider, and every time we
Oh.
tell this story, I go a little bit nervous because I'm almost 80 flights in, so I'm at the point of my paragliding career where I still have no idea what I'm really doing. It's complete luck when I land, take off. I don't know what I'm doing. So that story does make me just appreciate
You want to hear more stories about ice climbing, belaying?
It's all right, I don't care about ice climbing. Silly sport anyway. I don't actually mean that. I do like ice climbing. I competed, you know that. I represented Great Britain in the European Ice Climbing
Really?
Championships. Yeah, that's a true story.
I tried it once and I decided it's not my sport.
Wise decision. Too cold. Another one of your teammates,
Yeah,
Kevin Bartek.
Kevin Bartke.
Bach, sorry. Pronounce it again for me.
Bartke.
Ваши
Bartka.
аплодисменты Кевину.
Kevin.
Your applause to Kevin.
Butchering his name for a while. I do apologise, Kevin. But
Silver
congratulations on your
medalist
bronze.
representing USA Брайан Зарзуэлла. Серебряную
Zarzuela.
медаль завоевал представитель Соединенных Штатов
Silver.
Америки Брайан Зарзуэлла.
And finally, Matthew Phillips, this is officially
Your
called,
applause
will
to
receive the
Brian.
gold.
And gold medalist and the winner of the Speed World Championship 2021
Speed World
representing
Championship?
Great Britain Matthew Phillips.
That was yesterday.
Золотая медаль и
There he
победа
is,
в чемпионате
Matt Phillips.
мира по пароскалолазанию 2021
Double world
уходит
champion now.
Мэтью Филлипсу из Великобритании.
Awesome from him.
Your applause to Matthew. Ladies and
So,
gentlemen,
national anthem of
please
Great
rise
Britain.
for the
Let's hear that,
national
shall we?
anthem of Great Britain. Дамы и господа, попрошу всех встать, потому что прозвучит государственный гимн Великобритании.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, me and Sebastian are going to head downstairs. Enjoy the final podium here tonight. I'll be back where you hear my voice in a couple of minutes. So don't go anywhere. We've got some questions with the winners to come.
Bye-bye.
Sorry, I should say, Sebastian, thank you so much for joining us once again. We won't hear Sebastian again. You won't hear me again. Thank you for joining us here tonight, and we'll be back tomorrow for the bouldering action. Sebastian, fist bumps in the commentary box.
Thank you. It was an honor and pleasure to be with you again here in a microphone.
I hope sincerely that you never make a finals again. But of course, I
Ladies and
don't.
gentlemen,
Sebastian,
please
win many more
welcome
medals,
our
never see
men
this commentary box
medalists
again.
of the
But when you don't get through
World
by complete fluke,
Championship
please come and join me.
2021
We'll discuss it later.
We will. We'll have a beer. See you later, Sebastian. Thank you.
Bye.
Men. Дамы и господа, прошу приветствовать медалистов среди мужчин на чемпионате мира по пароскалолазанию 2021 года в дисциплине трудность в группе AL среди мужчин. Bronze medalist representing Japan, Shuhei Yuki. Бронзовая медаль вручается представителю Японии Шухей Юки. Your applause to our bronze medalist. Ваши аплодисменты нашему бронзовому медалисту. Silver medalist representing Belgium, Frederick Leys. Серебряную медаль завоевал представитель Бельгии Фредерик Лейс. Your applause to Frederick. Ваши аплодисменты Фредерику. And gold medalist and the winner of the Lead World Championship 2021 representing France, Thierry Delarue. Золотая медаль и победа в чемпионате мира по пароскалолазанию 2021 года уходит представителю Франции Тьерри Делару. Дамы и господа, попрошу всех встать, потому что сейчас прозвучит государственный гимн Франции. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the national anthem of France. Ваши аплодисменты нашим медалистам. Your applause to our приветствовать медалистов среди мужчин на чемпионате мира по параскалолазанию 2021 года в дисциплине трудность в группе РП-3 среди мужчин. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our men medalists of the Lead World Championship 2021. In the discipline, lead is in group RP3 men. Bronze medalist representing Iran, Иман Эдриси. Бронзовая медаль уходит представителю Ирана, Иману Идриси. Под ваши аплодисменты. Silver medalist representing France, Матьё Беснард. Серебряная медаль уходит представителю Франции, Матьё Беснарду. Под ваши аплодисменты. Gold medalist and the winner of the Lead World Championship 2021 represented France, Ромен Панью. Золотая медаль и победа в чемпионате мира по параскалолазанию 2021 года уходит представителю Франции Ромену Панью. Под ваши аплодисменты. Дамы и господа, попрошу всех встать, потому что сейчас прозвучит государственный гимн Франции. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the national anthem of France. Дамы и господа, ваши аплодисменты медалистам чемпионата мира по параскалолазанию 2020. Дамы и господа, прошу приветствовать медалистов среди женщин на чемпионате мира по параскалолазанию 2021 года в дисциплине трудность в группе РП-3 женщины. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our women medalists of the Lead World Championship 2021. In the discipline, lead is in group RP3 women. Bronze medalist representing Austria, Катарина Рид. Бронзовая медаль уходит представительнице Австрии Катарине Рид. Под ваши аплодисменты. Silver medalist representing Great Britain Марта Эванс. Серебряная медаль уходит представительнице Великобритании Марте Эванс. Под ваши аплодисменты. Gold medalist and the winner of the Lead World Championship 2021 representing France Люси Жарик. Золотая медаль и победа в чемпионате мира по параскалолазанию 2021 года уходит представительнице Франции Люси Жарик. Под ваши аплодисменты. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the national anthem of France. Дамы и господа, прошу всех встать, потому что сейчас прозвучит государственный гимн Франции. Ваши аплодисменты нашим медалистам. Your applause to our medalists. Ladies and gentlemen, let's start our flower ceremony in the discipline lead in group B3 men. Дамы и господа, мы начинаем цветочную церемонию на чемпионате мира по параскалолазанию 2021 года в дисциплине трудность в группе B3 мужчины. Третье место уходит представителю Великобритании Люкс Лоси Сейл. The third place goes to Luke's Lossy Sail from Great Britain. First place goes to Cosmin Florin Kandoi from Romania. Первое место уходит представителю Румынии Cosmin Florin Kandoi. And another first place goes to Kojahiro Minowada from Japan. И еще одно первое место уходит представителю Японии Кожахиро Миновада. Мы продолжаем нашу цветочную церемонию на чемпионате мира по параскалолазанию 2021 года в дисциплине «Трудность» в группе B3 женщины. Ladies and gentlemen, we continue our flower ceremony of the Lead World Championship 2021 in the discipline lead in group B3 women. First, the third place goes to Sunita Donopanavar from India. Третье место уходит представительнице Индии Сунити Донадапанавар. Second place goes to Tanya Glasic from Slovenia. Второе место уходит представительнице Словении Тани Гласич. And the first place goes to Ionela Greco from Romania. И первое место уходит представительнице Румынии Ионеле Греко. Your applause to our winners. Ваши аплодисменты нашим победителям. Дорогие друзья, ваши аплодисменты.
One, two, three, four, 5. 6, 7, here we go. This is a test, testing. We're testing the sound. This is a test. Can you hear me, guys? C'est bon. Okay, so one stay for the interviews. Pavitra, you ready?
Yes, she's ready.
You're ready. English okay?
Yeah.
Cool. Am I in the light there? Or is that... Okay. Okay. Pavitra, congratulations, a gold medal, and again, such a display of strength from you.
Yes, it was a really tough route, but it was nice and I enjoyed it. So yeah, I'm proud because I struggled with one hold and I couldn't reach it. So yeah, I was happy that I finally got it. So yeah, I'm really happy.
Well, enjoy it. You are a world champion.
Thank you very much.
Who's next? May you stay here, please? In the center? Okay.
Yaran, looking at me. Mate, congratulations. Again, such a display of muscle power campusing your way through the route. Did you enjoy it out there?
Oh yes, it was amazing, but the wall was very flat. And yeah, so it was maybe, es war sehr schwierig zu klettern, aber trotzdem habe ich mich sehr gefreut, dass es so gut gegangen ist. Und ja, bin trotzdem happy, in so einer flachen Wand so fit noch mithalten zu können und hätte mir nicht gedacht, dass ich Weltmeister werde. And yeah, I'm super happy. That is just very good.
Cool, well, look, congratulations. Enjoy that gold medal and hopefully a few drinks tonight.
Oh yes, thank you.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Gold medalist. Hang on a sec.
That's all?
No.
No?
Federico.
Я так надеялся. Ну ладно. А прям всех должны? Ты что, на машине, Барян? А как поедешь? А куда тебе надо?
На Пресню сейчас.
На Пресню? It's all? Yeah. Okay.